greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and you know, I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting obtrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a U.S.
Hold
show,
on a second.
as they did there, and they
Dave?
can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
Okay,
we
hold
know
on.
they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I
numbers for an
continue
afternoon.
this before you cut me off? We
Yeah,
know
go ahead.
one thing.
Yes.
We know it
No,
might have done well because
I'm
it went
not-
on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, like, you know, he's not a loser.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. Hashtag DMDMW. I am your host, Phil S. Marks, and on this week's show, episode 39, Dave Meltzer gets rejected from Stanford, and he gets exposed for lying about teaching at Stanford, which is hilarious. You must protect AEW at all costs. That includes blaming the fans when there's not a good turnout and good fan reception at AEW Dynamite, like happened last night. Time Cop. Bryan Alvarez pretends he's confused about everything WWE's doing all the time, and it's quite hilarious. We have SummerSlam star ratings, all of that and more on tonight's edition of Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week, hashtag DMDMW. So, ladies and gentlemen, hit the like, retweet, heart, subscribe, rate it 5 stars. Hit the hype button if you're watching this on replay. You can super chat in over on patreon.com/Pro Wrestle Times. There are bonus episodes of Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. I just uploaded an episode where I talk about wrestlers shooting on Dave Meltzer, and I react to clips of wrestlers themselves shooting on Dave Meltzer. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, get your flutes in the chat because it is time for everyone's favorite segment turned show, and it is called Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week, featuring Bryan Alvarez. So guys, we're gonna start with Dave melting down about WWE, but he did give star ratings for SummerSlam 2026. And night 1 and night 2 star ratings, we have them separated here. Now, I am of the belief that Dave rates things too high and too low most of the time. Like, he has zero chill. He can't be even keeled. He's just going hard at people and just like overly defending shit, or he's just not defending shit at all. He's never in the middle. He's never neutral. And he just babbles until he makes sense of things that he can't make sense of, you know, which comes across very extremist in his opinions, one way or the other. And I think even for WWE, sometimes he rates shit a little too high. And I think he rates shit really low whenever he can in WWE because he knows he rates stuff a little too high in every company. But Dave Meltzer, and obviously for AEW and CMLL and stuff, but Dave Meltzer's star ratings for WWE SummerSlam 2026 Night 1. So he gave Liv Morgan and Io Sky a 4.25. Like, it was a solid match, but a 4.25? That seems way too high. It wasn't one of the greatest matches of all time. It was not that, okay? But it was a good match. LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, and Royce Keys versus, or Hoist Keys as we call him, versus the Usos and Jacob Fatu, 3.5 stars again. 3.5 means like 3 is, that's it. That was a great match. There's nothing you could do. It was perfect as far as that's concerned, you know. 0.5 means, okay, now we're heading towards like, this is getting into like one of the best 6-mans ever. I don't know about all that. So again, Davey goes too hard in the paint. Gunther versus Nick Aldis 3.5, which I heard allegedly that match got cut a little short, and this is allegedly because Nick Aldis, he got blown up kind of early in that, so they really milked the ending there. And people thought he was going to go longer, but Aldis was, he had like a week's notice, so it's not at any fault of his own. But he kind of blew up. This is all rumors and innuendo. Okay, I'm not a dirt sheet, so. But I love that match. 3 stars I'd give it personally. So Fatal Influence versus Paige and the Bella Twins, 1.5 stars. Again, egregiously low. I don't think it was 1.5 range. Maybe a 2. I guess maybe that's within range. Dave will go, but 0.5 doesn't matter. But then he gives out 0.5s all the time and 0.25s. Punk versus Rhodes, 4.25. I mean, okay. Like maybe. I'd give it like a 4 or 3.5. Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar, Hell in a Cell, 3.5. Yeah, I'd give it a 3. I'd give it like a 3 personally. So Dave, not too egregious on night 1, being fair, I guess, I suppose. Right? So we head over to night 2 star ratings. And he gave Kevin Owens versus Gunther versus Sami Zayn versus Finn Balor 3.5 stars. Which I would give it that because, again, if you factor in the magnitude of the event, if you factor in the return pop, there was like a story, there's like an angle and story being added to it last minute that greatly raised the stakes, but it wasn't like shitty. It was like accepted by everybody. Oh, fuck. Even when Gunther was added, like love it or hate it, you're kind of like, okay, I guess it makes sense. But then Owens returned. So, yeah, that's like a 3.5 fatal 4-way, plus the match was solid in and of itself. So, Baron Corbin versus Trick Williams, 1.75. Maybe I'll agree with Dave on that one because there was some shit I didn't really like in that match myself. Interim WWE Women's Championship ladder match, 2.25. I don't like when he starts going like 2.25 and quarter stars and shit. It's just so stupid. That ladder match, WWE Women's Championship ladder match. Think, Phil, think. What did you give it, buddy? I don't know, buddy. A 2.25. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just give it like a 2 stars. You don't need to do all this 2.25 shit. But it wasn't that bad. It wasn't a 3, though. Yeah, maybe 2.5, whatever. Danhausen versus Dominic Mysterio. Human money's on a poll. He gave it 1 star. One of the worst matches he's ever seen. Chad Gable versus Penta, 4.25 stars. I wouldn't rate it that high. Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, 4.75. Yeah, so there you go. I think Dave being perfectly level-headed for the most part, but he does rate shit lower than he should, even for WWE, especially for WWE, and he rates shit higher than he should all the time. And I've said this, a lot of people are like, you're just a Fed drone. You just hate Dave. No, okay? We have based flutes for a reason. I am optimist, Phil. I'll give him the fucking benefit of the doubt more often than I even should at this point. And also, I say across the board, his star ratings are out of whack. SummerSlam, pretty even-keeled for Dave. I will say that. So let's move along here, and Dave is going to talk about WWE a little bit, and he talks about how he believes WWE is counter-programming AEW despite short-term money loss so they can get rid of AEW in the long term, Bryan. So he's very, very much on the conspiratorial end of this whole thing. With his reaching, I think it's very simple. I think WWE is just kind of being petty, but they're just stepping on the throat of AEW, and they're running NXT shows. So, guys, remember the Wednesday Night Wars? AEW pulled up, started kicking their asses, and me personally, back then, I didn't have a pod back then, but Phil S. Marks was like, yes, Get him. Let's fucking go. Beating NXT. Whoa, let's go, dude. This could do Raw. Like, what? Everybody thought NXT was going to start doing Raw ratings eventually with how good it was, right? And then a lot of that NXT UK shit, again, there was a lot of the bruvs were getting Me Too'd and speaking out it and all that shit. And a lot of that backlash came on Triple H as well as AEW kicking their ass a little bit. 100%. Now, NXT got in a weird position where guys like Adam Cole, like as much as we love them, him and Kyle O'Reilly and those guys all should have been called up like way before. Triple H, for the longest time in NXT, he was able to like cycle through guys and give you like different eras of fucking this guy debuts, then we do this, and then da-da-da. We're going to create this guy, whatever. If you guys remember Bo Dallas and Neville, and then like Paige and Emma helped get women's wrestling over again. And then you fast forward a bit, like Steen and Zayn. And then there was like the Balor era. Then Joe comes in, then Nakamura comes in, then fucking, then you got like the Bobby Roodes and you know, more like TNA guys start floating over and shit. And you know, Andrade, even Drew McIntyre was in NXT for a bit. So he was flowing nicely. But a lot of the stuff, like the Adam Cole stuff, like a lot of that shit got dragged out too long. Unfortunately, you know, you had the Keith Lee era and all of that. And yes, some of these guys did get called up, but AEW comes out and it's the new like super indie, because for the longest time, NXT was just like, here's the super indie, here's where you see, and it's still this way. They're getting back to it right now, which is why NXT is really cooking right now. It's the place where international indie homegrown stars, and it's been this way for a long time, but the NXT 2.0 era, you know, took away from that a little bit. It was mostly just like homegrown NIL / like main roster guys going down there and fucking, it wasn't so much like here's an indie darling and whatnot. Here's an international star from New Japan that's going to get some reps in here and whatnot, right? So you guys got to remember the Wednesday Night Wars. NXT got their asses beat a bunch of times. They won a couple rounds, but they mostly got licked, okay? They moved nights. Yeah, victory for AEW. And then that's when Jericho's like, we're going to do better than Raw. We're going to beat Raw in the ratings and shit like that. That never happened, unfortunately. And then they just regressed from there. They got a little bump when, well, it was a significant bump when Punk returned to wrestling. Any company would have, doesn't matter what company he returned to. And in fact, you could argue his WWE return was even bigger than that. And just based on numbers and metrics and whatnot. And so they got a little bump there, but then they squandered that. And then it's just been down. Now you can cherry pick Google Trends for the last 3 months and all of these shits. None of that matters. Like overall, AEW seems to be regressing. Now they're able to maintain the 600,000. Like it seems as though Dynamite for a while was doing more like in the 500,000 and above range, but now they do, you know, the 600,000 and above. They're kind of back to doing the 600 to 700,000 in that range, you know, which is good. That's a good thing for them. But otherwise, everything else is seemingly regressing. You know, I don't want to pull a time cop here, but we watched Dynamite in Vegas last night and they were struggling to fill out a 1,900 seater in Vegas, man. Like it's crazy. So what I think is happening is Triple H and Shawn Michaels are really trying to kick AEW's ass with NXT to sort of pay him back. So if it was a play of AEW's competition to us, besides anything other than salaries, which doesn't matter. Vaquer proved that doesn't matter. She took less money, but more opportunity. Jade Cargill proved that doesn't matter. She took less money, but more opportunity. I guarantee you Ricky Saints is getting less money, but more opportunity. Ethan Page probably getting less money, but more opportunity. Maybe not now because he's on the main roster, but a lot of these guys took less. Punk took less fucking money. But to do, well, then we don't talk about merch sales. He's making way more money in the merch sales and all the Fanatics deals and all that shit, I'm sure. But he just wants a better future for pro wrestling. And you can't achieve that in AEW when people aren't willing to listen and learn and shit like that. And everybody knows better. And it's just a super indie, which is fine. So what I think this is Triple H and Shawn Michaels just slapping the shit out of Tone with NXT. Like they book an NXT AAA show, everybody starts melting down like the roof's on fire. Like the fire alarms are going off, right? And if they were serious competition to WWE and whatever WWE's doing, they would run major shows. So a lot of people go, oh, well, you mean like WrestlePalooza? WrestlePalooza was like a throwaway fucking thing. Nobody ever thought. Now, yes, that was them going, here's a main, but I don't even believe they did that just to felt AEW. I believe they made the deal with ESPN and they talked with people at ESPN and Disney who thought, let's do an extravagant, like a WrestlePalooza thing. It just seemed like such an ESPN thing, and they just picked the weekend that was open for them. Because otherwise, we haven't seen major WWE Raw and SmackDown shows, major SummerSlam Survivor Series go head-to-head with AEW in any significant way, and Saturday Night Main Event. Come on, it's a main event show. It's just like, here's a fucking bunch of matches on a PLE, and the world champ's going to be in tag action. It's just Saturday Night Main Event. It is a major show, but not like it was back in the day, man. It's like a semi PLE in a way. So that's nothing significant compared to a pay-per-view. So NXT's running PLEs on the same day for free on CW, on the same day as AEW pay-per-views, and they're all melting down about it. And then all these sickos are just talking about NXT, and then NXT trends more. Same with the Goldberg thing. More people still talk about, and I've had sickos agree with me on this on social media, where they come in my comments and go, no, this guy's right. Like, I love AEW, but more people bitch about that Goldberg thing being cut off to this day than anything. Nobody remembers Hangman versus Mox for the fucking title. Nobody cares about that. AEW didn't even care about that. Hangman just forms trios now. So this isn't like, oh my God, we're in danger. We need to kibosh everything AEW's doing. No, they already did that with like WrestlePalooza and the Goldberg thing and all that. They did that before. Then they stopped going head to head. And then Dave Meltzer make-believed in his mind, it's because they got their asses cocked. Now they're doing it again, but just with NXT and AAA shows. And everybody's running around like chickens with their heads cut off, fucking freaking out about it. And it just proves that NXT's the competition. NXT beats Dynamite in the ratings a bunch of times, or they're similar, or they're tied, or they're very close. NXT's just above or just below. And it's not head-to-head, but the point remains. So Dave Meltzer goes, well, they're fighting AEW so hard about it, so that they can, get back the control that, they thought they were going to have. And then they don't have to be escalating salaries anymore, and they'd have even bigger profits. So I thought I had a clip of this, but yeah, let's play the clip of this. I don't need to do my impression, but we're going to break this down because Dave Meltzer tries to like have his cake and eat it too here. 1 second. I'm allergic to bullshit, and Dave's just got me sneezing here. So, heat waves going up against All in London, and this is what Dave has to say about WWE fighting for control, and he tries to have his cake and eat it too here. Let's listen.
They're fighting AEW so hard that they can get back that control that they thought that they were going to have, and then they won't have to be escalating salaries anymore, and they'd have even bigger profits. I think that's the nature of why you're running a 6-hour show. And
so what is he saying? Even bigger profits, but they want the control of if they pay people less. Like Tone's always paid people more, right? So Dave understands this if he was an honest journalist. We chronicle this here. at PWT. Tone's always paid everybody more. I thought that was the whole point of AEW. You get paid more and you're more free to do what you want. I thought that was the allure. That was the whole point of why AEW ruled and WWE stinks. So WWE has always been able to offer less money and more opportunity. Always. Well, what about the top stars? Well, I don't know. Punk isn't. So Punk got like $9 million or more for his time in AEW. He's not making $9 million in WWE just as like a base salary. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm not pocket watching him, but like with his merch and shit, maybe. I don't know how that all works. I could ask a friend of mine. I'm not really sure, nor do I care. You know, I'm not a nosy prick. It's none of my business. But on the sports side of things, you know, we like to know people's contract. He made $9 million plus from that AEW shit. Like, how long was he even there for? So he took less money. You think Rhodes as an EVP getting that salary on top of the salary for being an on-screen talent, you think he's making more in WWE? Maybe something comparable with the merch and everything. Again, I keep saying that maybe with the pod and the fanatics and the ad reads and the fucking his cut of Wheatley or whatever. I don't know, right? But just based on like salary, you think he's making more than what he was making as an EVP and a wrestler base than what he's just making as a wrestler right now in WWE? I highly fucking doubt that, Dave. So again, and it's not them going like, oh, these wrestlers aren't, because a lot of sickos cope and they go, they're not giving people what they're worth. WWE don't have to give people what they're worth. No, you're worth what you draw. Like, has Tone seen a return on investment in Swerve? Think about all the people that were in the building in Vegas. They can't even draw 2K people. And they're paying Hangman how many millions of dollars? And they're paying Swerve millions of dollars. And shout out Bandito. I like Bandito. I like Brody King. They're getting paid six figures for sure. Minimum in the six figures each. Swerve, millions of dollars. Tone's not sitting there going, we brought in $600 million this year for TKO or for their business. He's not able to say that. So where the fuck? And WWE's still paying everyone you see on the main roster six figures, top of the card, 7 figures plus. And if you're in NXT, 5 or 6 figures. Some people, too, get the main roster. Like, I bet you Naraku is getting paid main roster shit. If he shows up on SmackDown tomorrow, Time Cop, he's getting paid main roster shit probably just to be in NXT because they wanted him on the main roster to begin with. So, I don't know, man. Like, Tone's overpaying for people. That doesn't mean that's what their worth is. He's inflated people's worth. Again, there's wrestlers who left AEW, and I know people who book indies who've booked these guys, and they leave AEW, and they think they're worth way more than they are, and it's not even a fault of their own. They're just used to getting paid something. They're not anymore, and they go to the indies where they'll be lucky to make $400 a pop, and they're expecting like in the thousands. Whereas the way WWE ID'd people, I think it's kind of like sus what they're doing by going like, you have to use your WWE ID name on the indies. I think that's kind of shit. And they didn't plan on doing that, but it has elevated people and the promotions. Like, it's friendly, it's promotion friendly and talent friendly. As opposed to like Tone just releasing people out in the wild and then they expect to get paid more than they're worth, you know?
Edinburgh, Texas on August 30th. That's going to, do terrible YouTube numbers.
Hangman is absolutely making millions of dollars. It's without question, okay?
And even worse TV numbers. But you're still doing it, with that knowledge.
Think about what Jericho's getting paid. Think about what Mox is getting paid. They can't even draw 2K in Vegas. How is any of it? Think about all the people who are on that Vegas show. Not to do a time cop. If you're watching this in the future, make sure you hype the video. But also, Las Vegas, August 12th, Wednesday night Dynamite, Time Cop. Couldn't even do, they did like 1,800 people in like a 1,900 seater. Think about, you're talking like tens of millions of dollars worth of talent on that show.
just doing
Crazy.
anything you can to take the edge off AEW, because AEW is in a very important period in its history right now. And so because of that, that's their loss leader thing mentality. It's like, yeah, we'll take some short-term money losses, but if we can get rid of them, if somehow we get rid of them as far as being major competition to us.
They're not major. They've already done that. So this is where Dave's off. And I quote tweet this, and people are like, well, Dave's actually right because no, he's not. You're listening to the first 10 seconds and going, well, he's right about that first part. Kind of, but he's not actually, because AEW's always paid more, WWE's always paid less. But I get what he's saying. Like, the threat is because at one point at the beginning, yes, they had to give like each good brother $500,000 a year to make them stay and stuff like that. Like, yes, to keep people, they're like, here's a shitload of money, and people did get paid more. Yes, they were competition, not major competition. They kicked NXT's ass. They weren't major competition. NXT's the developmental. They were starting to gain ground. Maybe they become major competition. Oh, they fumble it. Then Punk comes back. They're fumbling a lot, man. Rhodes takes off. I don't know, man. Maybe they could be major competition, though. Oh, Edge is going over there. Fuck, man. You got Danielson, Punk. You got people. Maybe they could be major competition. Oh, it fell off again, and Punk has to knock people out and fucking call people clowns and quit. And then they just fell off. So it was almost major competition. And yes, in the beginning, 6-7 years ago, it made WWE go, fuck, we got to pay some people. Absolutely, without question. No one can deny that. But as now we're in year 7, right? Everybody still acts like it's this startup fucking company. Year 7 now, okay? Within like 4 years, 5 years, Eric Bischoff had WWE tap dancing, dude. Kicking their fucking ass. And that's a brand that everybody already knew. It's not like this new thing with a billionaire who can just do whatever he wants. Right? So Tone had all of the advantages in that regard, other than like, a brand with name recognition. But you could argue that almost would have hurt WCW because it's some shit that people had already written off. So, like, people are writing AEW off. People wrote TNA off. They had to rise up, but they ain't nowhere near either of these feds, and fucking AEW is getting written off by more and more people. And written off by Shad Khan and his fucking taxes or something, because I don't know how he keeps funding this shit. Do you know what I'm saying?
Best guy's Tony Khan.
The best guy, Shad Khan. But this part here where Dave's like, to keep them from being major competition, they already did that. Now it's just about NXT making them sweat. Baby boy, make you lose my breath. Tony Khan, make him lose his ha. Ooh, can you keep up with NXT? Make him lose his, you know what I'm saying? Like, NXT and AAA got them sweating. That's the proof in the pudding right there.
It's like, all these guys, like maybe we can start asking them to take pay cuts because they don't have the leverage of going somewhere else.
They've shown what their strategy is, which is to pay the people who they believe are the top stars,
a lot of money.
Top stars.
Oh my God, imagine that strategy, paying the top stars like top stars. Wow.
And everybody else is kind of in the middle.
Okay, so you're not a top star, but you're not a fucking jobber. So you're kind of in the middle. Okay. And in the middle means 6-7 figure salary. Okay.
And you have this pipeline of NXT talent to replace anybody in the middle who decides that they either don't want to, they don't want to take the pay cut or
okay, so you play for a hockey team and you're 4 years in the league and you don't get paid as much as Connor McDavid, but the guys in the AHL don't get paid as much as you. And if you decide I want to trade or I want to go test free agency, then you have guys in the AHL come through the pipeline who can fill out the third line and the fourth line if they need to. And some can even fill out that second line, and it's going to be cheaper to pay them because they signed a fucking contract So this strategy of operating like a sports and entertainment business instead of overpaying people like Tony Khan, who aren't worth the shit, and you don't have people coming up the pipeline because it's just random people in ROH that nobody fucking knows what they're even doing, or it's Eddie Kingston or whatever, and you call upon these people, and you got Eddie Kingston making 6 figures a fucking year. And Hangman comes and goes while clearing $3 million. The fuck are we talking about, man? Jericho is making insane money, astronomical money, to just come and go as he pleases. Like, what are we really even talking about here? It's crazy.
Whatever. Or maybe
Imagine
they just
running a
they
business.
let them go. When you constantly have this pipeline of talent who can just come in, and you're saving money every time a new talent comes in like that.
The ones that we see on TV on Raw and SmackDown, the ones on the main roster, they're all doing great, like far, far, far beyond their dreams of what they ever thought they would make in pro wrestling, partially because revenues increased and more so because AEW exists.
More so because AEW exists, not because they're making hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, but it's more because AEW exists that the people on the card, like the mid guys, are you talking about, Dave? Again, Jade Cargill and Stephanie Vaquer took less money to go follow their dreams and get more opportunity in the long run and more merch sales. People don't talk about the merch enough, as the PWT universe always points out, the DMDMW universe always points out. You got to talk about merch. Like in WWE, you're making tons of money on merch and, again, opportunity, like being in the Tokyo version of Bad Lieutenant, being in Street Fighter and shit like that. MJF has to go independently get his movie roles and whatnot. So, again, just tons of cope when it comes to WWE. So we move along here. And so Bryan Alvarez gets real triggered here over what this Johnny Russo. Bro, let me tell you about Johnny Russo. He is my cousin. Bro, let me tell you, we invented wrestling, bro. We invented the promo. Nobody did a promo before me. Hand to God, bro.
Brian.
So Bryan Alvarez gets triggered by this Johnny Russo gentleman, and we broke down this video on PWT Live Show, Time Cop, every Wednesday and Saturday night. And we broke down this video, and this guy actually gave very solid advice. Let's hear Bryan, who can't cut a promo. He does a hacky radio shtick with his Dave Meltzer. He does his hacky radio shtick. He's a terrible wrestler. He's a never was. And if he didn't have this dirt sheet, he wouldn't be booked on any shows. He'd have a job in AEW in the office because he knows the Bucks and shit. That's what it would be.
This Johnny Russo bloke. Have you seen the footage of this guy giving promo advice?
Oh, no.
I swear to God.
I've seen the product. I can't imagine his advice is any good.
Bro, you have to Google Johnny Russo promo advice tryout.
Just watch it on your show, asshole. Play it.
Or however
this is like, they're dishonest. This is why I play the clips and then I just read what people say. People get so mad at me. I just show you what people are doing and what they say and react to it. Don't be mad at me. Be mad at these dumb fucks. Just play the clip. Play the audio of it. But you won't because you're dishonest. You're pretending you don't understand what's going on here.
You can get this.
I'll put this in right now.
Please go home and watch this. This dork is giving promo advice to all of these wannabe wrestlers.
Wannabe wrestlers. To all of the... Brian, Joshua Bishop clears you already. Conan Lycan isn't a wannabe wrestler. He's a very athletic guy. He's young. He's very athletic for his size. And he made fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars on the Mr. Beast games that millions of people fucking watched. That's more than you've done, bro. these wannabe wrestlers, and you're a real wrestler, you get booked and take spots from these wannabe wrestlers to throw super kicks when you're shorter than fucking Hornswoggle, dude.
Actually, like, have been wrestling. It's a tryout. There, you know, and like
these wannabe wrestlers. Hey, Joshua Bishop, this guy just called you a wannabe wrestler, bro. That's crazy.
First off,
when Bryan's literally a wannabe wrestler,
the way he explains how not to do a promo is like exactly how Izzy Dame and what's her name that's now in TNA, whose promos you hated?
Elena Black.
Elena Black.
Former Cora Jade.
Yep.
Who's gotten better.
Oh, my God.
No, because, Bri, you're lying. So explain what he said. What the guy said was, don't ask questions. What you gonna do, brother? Don't ask questions. Don't fucking pace around and do crazy movement and distract from you're not Macho Man, right? I made the joke, like, you're not going to come in and get over going, ooh, yeah, and wiggling your fingers and shit. What you going to do, brother? Like, you're not Hogan. This is television. We need to fucking see how we can produce you and see what you can deliver if you can follow instructions too. So this is a bit like, once you get over like Finn Balor, you're allowed to ask questions. You're allowed to do it more or less what you want. But it's about, hey, we're going on national TV and shit. We're going on Netflix around the world. Can you follow instruction? These are kids training. Now, I know that none of these motherfuckers, like, Bri, you train jujitsu, right? So when you first start training, they're not going, yeah, dude, here's how you hit rubber guard and sink in a Goga Plata choke. Here's how you flip into an Omoplata. And you know what I mean? Here's how you do a vapor. Here's the Peruvian necktie. They don't teach you that right away. They go shrimp up and down the fucking mat until you can't feel your stomach anymore. Why? Because it's just teaching you like a fundament. Can you follow instruction and can you implement technique? Once you get this down, a bunch of moves then come from this technique. So this is tryout. Here's what we expect of you. Bry's like, this is exactly what you don't do. Bry, you wouldn't know. You couldn't make it in NXT, bro.
He's literally telling you not to do what they do. And then he's like giving all this sage advice. And
no, it wasn't quote unquote sage advice. They asked questions and he gave answers because that's his job. What you're trying to do is give sage advice, Bry. You're sitting here going, everything he said not to do is what you should do. You're offering sage advice. He's hosting he's in charge of this, of hosting this seminar, if you will, of cutting promos in front of cameras and shit. And they're asking him questions before they get started. And mind you, you're diminishing the talent who are there asking important questions. How much movement's too much movement? Should I be there fucking flexing my guns like Hogan? If I shake my head around because I'm being like a crazy guy, is that too much? You're now undermining these wrestlers and calling them wannabe wrestlers and shit. You're a goof.
I watched this show.
And these
promos are god awful. Why is he giving anyone advice? How did he even get this job? Oh my God. I was dying.
You can't get that job. If you applied right now, you couldn't get that job. Where do you teach people how to do promos?
Literally dying as I watch this. You have to see it.
And yeah, Bry is just in denial. You have to see it. It's like you really don't. And even if you do, all good. I watched it. It's not as egregious as he's saying it is. And at least there's some instruction instead of an AEW where there's no instruction. CWJ for 5 says, imagine if AEW told their entire roster, here's a 50% pay cut or you can leave. Maybe 5 people could get 50% what AEW is overpaying its talent. So what are you trying to say here? Imagine if AEW told their entire roster, here's a 50% pay cut or you can leave. Yeah, people would melt down or they'd sweep for it. Maybe 5 people could get 50% what AEW is overpaying its talent. Maybe, man. If you cut a bunch of these guys by 50%, you're still overpaying for a bunch of them if you're pulling up to Vegas and you can't even draw 2K people. I'm sorry. And you're not bringing in the money. So, like, okay, I'm not saying every show means like you got to be in the green as far as talent, production costs, and all of this shit. However, if at the end of the year your revenue's like almost 700 million or whatever the fuck, then yes, you can pay people 6-7 figures to show up to your goddamn shows. Tone isn't doing that. He's hopefully going to become profitable. So that's his own words. So until he goes, and that's fine. Companies don't operate in the green. Like a lot of them operate in the red. We got to stop pretending he's made a return on investment on Okada or Osprey, for instance. He's paying them insane money. We move along here. Thank you for the super chat. We move along here. And so Dave Meltzer, we covered this last week on Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week, Time Cop. But Dave, we're not going to replay the clip, but Meltzer said what the GOAT says. You can literally hear Dave invent this WWE ESPN story live on air with conjecture. Phrases a non-hack wouldn't use. So my gut is the reason obviously has to be, I think that tells you a lot. The fact they're not tells you. So basically, Dave, like, we can maybe play 2 seconds of this, but he's like, well, what this tells you is that the ESPN deal, they fucking are mad because this. He just makes up a bunch of shit.
In those hours, that they weren't way above what ESPN would do in that time slot. So it can't be low ratings based on ESPN. I mean,
we listened to this already, and he basically copes and goes, well, ESPN fucking, he just starts inventing reasons for why they didn't do the
programming in that time slot.
Why they didn't do the pre-matches on ESPN or whatever the fuck. But then you look and they did a 3-hour pre-show instead, and then it was just all like ESPN2, ESPN Unlimited. It's just all WWE to the point where ESPN fans are like, dude, it's too much WWE on this shit, right? So this week we get a follow-up, okay? And Meltzer said, what goes, Larry David hit my music. Well, I don't have the Curb Your Enthusiasm music, but I do have a motherfucking flute I can play. And I got the goat sound for Meltzer said what the goat. And so here we go. Like, I called this out. Real publications are going to start felting Dave. It's only a matter of time before MMA and boxing fans, because Dave has this vendetta against TKO. So he's talking a lot of shit about MMA and boxing, and they are going to start turning on him and destroying him as well. Real sports journos are going to start poning Dave. We've seen real Hollywood agents and whatnot start poning Dave. Sports people, real journalists who cover real sports, who fucking talk about the WBD deal and all of this, and then fucking Dave melts down on them and they have to address it and talk about how he's a clown, but Dave exists in a bubble of fucking sickos, so they're not going to listen to that because they don't know anything outside of jerking off with fucking Joshi pillows and listening to the Observer. So Awful Announcing reports this, and I don't know how legit Awful Announcing is. Is that like a real fucking publication? Is Awful Announcing a legit publication? I guess we'll ask AI. I don't really know, like, what legit, widely considered a legitimate and influential digital publication. So there you go. And they've been going for 20 years. So it's only a matter of time before, like, big, even bigger than this, start destroying Dave and whatnot. So according to Awful Announcing here, ESPN will reportedly continue to simulcast first hour of WWE PLEs on linear networks despite SummerSlam absence. So Dave just gets fact-checked and pwned. And has he addressed this?
Yeah.
Nope, he won't, because he's a piece of shit. And he just makes up a bunch of shit. These guys just actually talk to ESPN because they have plugs there. And Dave doesn't. He has hair plugs there, but he doesn't have plugs anywhere. So that's when he starts talking about the quarter hours and all the pay-per-view numbers. There's no way Dave gets pay-per-view numbers from HBO Max and Triller and my AEW now and fucking wherever Amazon or whatever they're on. There's no way he has sources at all these fucking places, or he wouldn't be so bad at his job. So Awful Announcing, I believe they have sources at ESPN. So SummerSlam did not feature a simulcast due to a scheduling conflict. So Dave Meltzer goes, well, it tells me that, it's not doing the numbers that anything else would do in that time slot. And it's telling me that blah, blah, blah. Even though they had hours of fucking stuff of WWE on ESPN, it doesn't matter.
So bad.
You know?
Dave is the devil. Oh.
It's always just cope. So this is via Liam McGuire. Or the edit. So look, the edit is by Liam McGuire, but the article's written by Drew Lerner. And Dave could learn something himself from that. Instead of having Marks write fucking articles and yourself write articles and have no editor, imagine that. Hire an editor and punch that shit up. So let's take a look here. Dave Meltzer, author of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, initially reported that ESPN's decision to do without a simulcast for SummerSlam was because the simulcast approach hadn't been generating enough new subscriptions. Not true. That, however, doesn't appear to be the case, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com, who says the SummerSlam simulcast did not happen due to scheduling conflicts on ESPN. He added that ESPN plans to continue WWE simulcasts in the future, particularly for the biggest events of the year, per James Hetfield in PW Mania. So again, a lot of people are like, look, Awful Announcing's poning Dave, and that's the W here. Now, Sean Sapp and all these guys, I mean, you're all fucking dirt sheets, so who really gives a fuck? Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Dave Meltzer loves Tony Khan. Dave Meltzer likes to gargle balls and put nuts on his chin for tone. That fucking rules. So, yeah, I mean, Awful Announcing, more people are going to start catching on. You're going to get real sports publications poning Dave. And it's only a matter of time before the boxing space and MMA space move in on him as well. And more Hollywood journos with his assessment of the fucking Paramount stuff. It's only a matter of time before more Niccolo Piccolos and whatnot come out of the woodwork. So we move along here. And speaking of WWE, Dave and Bry, they just act confused about the creative and everything going on in WWE. They just pretend like everything's gone to shit and nothing makes sense and they don't understand what they're doing. But meanwhile, their attendances are through the roof. Solo's getting over as fuck, like way more over as a babyface than people thought. But these two chuckle fucks are confused by this somehow.
You know, usually Raw is like sort of the A show and SmackDown sort of the B show, but they try to keep them kind of even. And right now, SmackDown has so much more what I would call main event talent. And on Raw, I mean,
yeah, they just moved Punk and Finn over there. So obviously you'd say that. It's just terrible analysis. Like Dave is the worst analyst. I'm the worst. I'm an analyst.
The only reason I know about this is because I know about it.
Dave is the worst analyst in the annals of time.
Of guys that you like SmackDown's got Cody Rhodes, who's total top guy, right? Randy Orton, total top guy. CM Punk, total top guy.
And yeah, just like AEW, Dave Meltzer he just says shit then moves on. Shout out chat. It's quantity over quality. And when he doesn't have an answer, he just filibusters, babbles, and word salads you to death, and then makes it about some shit, tries to put a stamp on it, but there's no real explanation or answer to things. And that's how you mind fuck dummies. It's literally like a mind fuck dummies tactic that like used car salesmen, I don't even want to say them, because some of them are actually good at fucking, they could sell you sand on a beach, as the old saying goes. But it's like politician bibble babble where you just word salad. Woke one, as they're calling it.
Kevin Owens pretty damn close to that level. I mean, and Raw, like, legitimately, and they got Gunther also, pretty much top guy. Raw has Roman Reigns, and this week Roman Reigns wasn't on the show, so they had.
It's funny because he's naming a bunch of guys who just went over from Raw. They were all just on Raw. Now they're over on SmackDown. They're over here now.
Show built around
the bloodline.
So
bloodline.
Who, I mean, was really big until he wasn't.
Dude, this Jey Uso solo thing.
And Solo.
And they hate it, but meanwhile, everyone's going, man, Raw is really fucking good. SmackDown's really good. This shakeup, we've been saying it. They need to shake things up. They did, and it's been much better. And is it a coincidence the bloodline is like piquing everyone's interest again? And like Solo's really over, and now he's being semi-forced to join the bloodline or whatever. He's got to join up with them again, and Jacob was forced to join the bloodline and acknowledge. I'm just saying, dude, the bloodline fucking works, and these guys are like, oh, it's terrible. No, everybody's digging it, I think. Tell that to the 14,000 people who paid to see the fucking show.
They're really trying with him. They're trying to make him into something. And now he's apparently back in the bloodline, which is the last thing.
Well, he's being brought to Roman Reigns. They did not flat out say that he had to join the bloodline. The stipulation was he would be brought to Roman Reigns. So I'm sure they'll do something. I'm sure LA Knight will get involved. But I mean, the big issue is Solo was supposed to be a babyface, and they're trying. Jey Uso is supposed to be a heel. They come out for the main event, and Jey Uso does a total babyface.
Oh my God! Look how fucking. Oh man, Bry's fed up. The finger of doom, buddy. The finger point of doom. Bry has to fucking put the one finger of doom up. Dave, settle down now, Dave. Dave, settle down. Now, Dave, hold on. Dave's gonna start fucking interrupting. And this is what I mean. Bry's like his wife. Now, dear, don't do that. Oh, you always embarrass me, dear. Right? And then Garrett's the side piece who goes, yeah, I mean, Dave, you're right. What they're doing is running things like a company. This is all crazy. Bry's just fucking getting fed up. He has to do the one finger of doom. Oh my God. What's next? He's going to Steven Crowder him and start like flicking a light on whenever he wants the comedian on his show to shut up. What a fucking, oh my God, look at this one more time. The finger poke of doom.
They come out for the main event, and Jey Uso does a total babyface entrance. Solo does a total heel entrance.
Jay's coming through the crowd doing the yeet. Yes, that's like,
he's doing a total babyface entrance. Solo does a total heel entrance.
Dave is like, he's coming through doing the yeet. That's like, that's if I did the yeet. You fucking mark. Yeah, it's a babyface thing. He's doing the yeet because it's babyface, right? Let's do the finger one more time. I love the finger, dude. This is the fucking. This is my favorite moment of all time.
Heel. They come out for the main event, and Jey Uso does a total babyface entrance. Solo does a total.
He just keeps interrupting. It's my favorite part. He just keeps no. Dave's such a spurg, man. Oh my God!
Heel entrance.
Jay's coming through the crowd doing the yeet. That's like,
he's doing a total babyface entrance.
He meant solo, I think. But Dave he's just a fucking moron.
And Solo does a total heel entrance, and then they get in the ring for the match, and the crowd's like, "The fuck are we supposed to do here?" So they are dead for this match.
They were dead.
So dead for this match. They sort of got up a little bit at the end.
Dave, just let him finish talking, dude.
They picked up a
they. Holy shit. Now, like, sometimes you interrupt and you interject, especially like you come on my show. I'm going to fucking try and drop like one-liners in there while people are talking or whatever. I'm going to go, yeah. And if you or add something quickly, but there's like it's like a dance. You're able to do it without fully stepping on toes, right? And to keep the conversation going. Dave is just going, like, is he an only child? I know he's like, my sister is a prolific fucking, she's Brainiac, like doesn't he have a sister where he's like, my sister was with me when Booker T was gonna smack me out on Jericho's cruise or whatever. Oh yeah, this is what Dave said. This is what Dave legit said. Are you guys ready? This is one of the craziest things of all time. Dave insinuated when recounting when Booker T bitched him up on the Jericho cruise, Dave was like, I had my sister with me and she's a kickboxer. And so Charmel would have got, like, he doesn't say Charmel would have got beat up, but he insinuates like Charmel would have got that ass beat. Charmel piped up, but boy, that would have went bad because my sister, she's like a kickboxer or whatever. I swear to God, it is one of the craziest things. Idiot. Oh my God, I can't believe I just remembered that shit. Oh my goodness.
They're dead for this match.
They were pretty dead.
So dead for this match. They sort of got up a little bit at the end, but
they just let him finish his goddamn thought, dude.
But yeah, it was. But you know what else? One of the reasons it was dead was it wasn't that good of a match.
No,
it wasn't that good of a match. Tony Khan. Why does he do that when he thinks he's proven a point?
But yeah, it was. But you know what else? One of the reasons it was dead was it wasn't that good of a match.
No, it was not a good match at all.
Yeah, so when the crowd was dead for like Swerve's return, it wasn't that good of a return. No, it was tremendous, actually. The quarter hour was the highest.
You know, usually Raw.
Oh, man, it's funny. I love the bloodline. One's up, like Bry, acknowledging his tribal chief during the fucking bloodline segment. Oh, man. That was too good. The finger point of doom, the finger poke of doom. Oh, shit. So Big Cass is another thing people are getting upset about a little bit now. I don't want to say they booked him bad. And I don't think Cass is dead in the water at all. Again, you guys know I'm a massive mark for Big Cass and Enzo, and I wish they came back together. And a lot of people are like, been there, done that. They can do that later. Maybe. I think realistically, what's the point of bringing Enzo back? You're going to run with Cass as a fucking singles guy, as a destroyer. And in the future, maybe one day a reunion could happen, but they don't really care about tag wrestling so much in WWE, especially as of late. And so Cass comes back. I feel like his debut is the same thing they did with Corbin. Now, does that mean Cass is fucked? No. As I've said infinite times, he's gotten over. He's gotten over in every fed he's gone to since leaving WWE. He got over in WWE. He's gotten himself over, whatever you throw at him, right? So he's back now doing the whole, I'm just going to destroy and wreck motherfuckers. So pretty much what Corbin's doing. But it is what it is, man. And it's the land of the giants and the super heavyweights again in WWE, which I kind of like, you know? But some people are upset that he's just running out and destroying people and doesn't really have a rhyme or reason to it yet. He's just pulling a Rusev. Like Rusev came back and he's like, everybody who treats this like a joke, I will show you who the joke is. And then he's just like jumping fucking mid-lower guys. He's jumping cruiserweights and shit. And then he kind of worked around the fucking Intercontinental title scene. Big Cass is kind of doing the same thing. He's just like, you know, I was at rock bottom and now I'm back and I'm fucking gonna take I don't think he said I'm gonna take what's mine, but he's like, everybody's on notice type thing, you know? And he's just like whipping Dragon Lee's ass and whatnot. So I don't know. He's not done though. Cass will figure this out. WWE Creative will figure this out. Is it my favorite thing, what they've been doing with Cass? No, definitely not. Is he in tremendous shape? Is he gonna get over? Is he already? Or like, it's Big Cass. He was super over with the whole Enzo thing. I think with the learning tree, that's like the worst thing they could have gave him, but he was still able to get good crowd reactions even when he's off TV for a while. They stick him with Brian Keith. He's able to get himself over. He goes to TNA. He got super over there. Even his Indies run, whether you love it or hate it, him and Enzo getting in a brawl with the Tongans at fucking ROH, whether that was a work or a shoot, people were talking about it, and Cass is that dude. So let's hear Bry and Dave compare this to WCW, which is hilarious because if you guys remember, Dave was melting down and going, to call AEW WCW is blasphemous, Brian. It's not like WCW. The comparison is complete nonsense. It's utter nonsense, Brian. But now he's calling this WCW. So it's constant projection. It's okay for Dave. This is why Dave is such a cock. Because it's okay for him to go, nope, this is like WCW. But you can't say this is like WCW when it comes to AEW. Or you don't study, you don't learn, you don't read, you're not a smart fan, you're poor because you don't like AEW, and poor people don't like AEW, which Dave claims he never said.
Poor people don't like AEW.
So let's take a look.
Big Cass then hits the ring and destroys Dragon Lee. And then Javon hits the ring. He goes after Big Cass, and Cass kills him as well. I don't like this. Like, I have nothing.
It's not even that I don't like this. I just feel like we've seen this a couple times recently the last year or so in WWE with a couple guys. And a part of me as a fan, as an Enzo and Cass mark, I was just really hoping that's what they did. And they could still do it. And I was just looking at the merch and shit and the whole tag debacle with like, we need individuals / tags. I was like, for sure, that's the best move. Could Cass have had something more meaningful? Sure. But what are you going to do with him? Like, you got to have him wreck motherfuckers. So here's the thing too. When he left WWE, they had him just wrecking motherfuckers and midgets. No, he went into business for himself there, allegedly. But they had him just wrecking Danielson. Like, he was just wrecking motherfuckers. So they're just kind of picking up where they left off. So I'm okay. It's not that it's bad by any means. It's just like, I need a little more. What point is he trying to prove with doing this? Why Dragon Lee and Javon? If he's really bout it, why ain't he running in and big booting fucking Roman while he's out there with the one-up? Like, that's all we need to figure out. Rusev made it clear. If you treat it like a joke, I fucking show you this isn't a joke. Game over. No, that's Miro.
Against Big Cass, but Cass coming out here and just killing young guys every week feels like a WCW thing. Like,
no, it is. It is. Well, it's like,
I don't like it.
It's like what they're doing with Corbin too. We got one on each brand.
At least with Corbin, I feel like it's like a short-term thing so that Trick can just get his belt back with a big win or something.
Meanwhile, WWE, all the rumors are like, yeah, Trick's going up to like world title main event guy status, and Corbin's going to be wrestling like Mello and around that. The mid-lower guys helped get them over, like Rusev.
Carmelo can beat him and do a three-way, and Trick gets it.
Maybe Javon beats him down the line. Maybe.
Come on, Dave. What are we talking about here?
Down the line?
Maybe like a year from now.
Down the line?
Well, yeah. So then what are you crying about, Bri? I hate when Bri's just like fucking shout out Optimus. Let's get a bass flute in the chat for Bass Dave. Like at least Dave is saying like, well, yeah, maybe he gets a win back down the line. Like, what are you fucking tripping about?
Like,
probably.
I don't think they paid Big Cass his money and brought him back and are just gonna start beating him, especially with Javon.
I don't think they should beat him right away. But down the line, they're going to beat him. It's not like he's going to be. I don't see him ending up, against Roman Reigns. So
that's crazy because that's exactly what I see. They need new challengers for some of these guys and guys that they can beat, and people aren't like, fuck this. Like, yes, if Big Cass won a world title, that would be amazing. If he never does, that wouldn't shock me either, especially considering his career, right? And like, he started as like a tag dude. But I do see him being a challenger for Roman and some of these top guys. Like, you need to start like Punk needs new guys to fight too. We talked about that before SummerSlam. Who's Punk going to fight? Maybe Sammy again. Maybe KO shows up. Boom. That's a match we've never seen. perfect. You know, they could even do a program. We could get a few matches out of those guys. And that's perfect. That's a new, fresh opponent. And that's why SmackDown feels exciting and shit. Absolutely, Cass will get to Roman or whoever's world champ. Maybe Roman drops that shit to Jacob for all we know. And then it's like Cass versus Jacob. But we need new guys to get shots at these bigger titles here. And that's exactly what he's being brought in for. Even Corbin, I wouldn't be shocked if after this U.S. title run, I think Corbin will be used more like Miro, but I would not be shocked if he faces Punk and then Punk beats him in just like a title match on a SmackDown or something, right? Like that would not shock me for a second.
Guys, he's going to be a guy, and in the end, those guys win, those guys lose. So he'll get beat by people.
Wow, great analysis, you two old fucking fogies. So now Dave and Bry are sitting here playing dumb about when it comes to Bailey and Sasha Banks / Mercedes Monea. The promo she cut yesterday on Dynamite Time Cop was literally my impression of her. It's fucking insane. I swear she's like purposely
Sometimes
leaning
in life
into
you
it.
gotta be a hoe.
Crazy, but you know, Bry is like, what's going on with Bailey? Well, Dave, we really don't know what's going on with Bailey. And she's not leaving anytime soon, so why would they be teasing something?
Brian.
And it's like, because we're all talking about it, dumbass. Like, these two old farts really don't understand the sports business at all, and they really don't understand the entertainment business at all. Whatsoever.
What is going on with Bailey, by the way? She just posted a video today, and the song in the video is titled All In.
I don't think that she's going to be a free agent by All In.
I don't think
that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when. Like, All In is associated with AEW, right?
I can't. Listen,
She may be just messing with people too.
Don't report this, everybody, because I don't know this for sure.
We know you don't know anything for sure, Bri. You probably your license probably has a fake height.
But I was given the impression that her deal is not up to like January. Like it's a while.
I
certainly not by All In.
Yeah, everybody jumps the gun. Like all of these, this person's released and this person, whatever. They're just jumping the gun on all these contract things. But you have to believe that whatever Lyra's doing, there's something with Bailey because she was talking to herself like a schizophrenic. They just dropped it, and now Lyra's a crazy bitch. That does not make sense other than they just don't know what's up with Bailey. And Bailey's hosting these seminars. Maybe she had some time off. A lot of the time, too, where everyone's like, where are these wrestlers? They just have scheduled time off. And all the top guys, and Bailey's a top guy, a top gal, they all get time off, okay? You just got to fucking understand that's going to happen. And some people want to take that shit during the summertime or whatever. Now, I think Bailey will fucking go to AEW and wrestle Monet, and I think she'll go wrestle in Arena Mexico, and I think she'll go wrestle a match in Japan. I just think Bailey's accomplished everything there is to accomplish. Why not go pad up your fucking bank account, fill out those pockets even more, and just go do some dream match type shit in her mind? Like her bucket list, the way Edge is like, oh, I want to go to the Maple Leaf Gardens, and Bailey wants to go like wrestle in fucking Japan for the New Japan Women's Strong title or whatever. And you can't blame her for that. It's not about, I'm going to AEW to be all elite. It's like she wants to go wrestle Monet at Wembley. That'd be really cool for her. Now, is it going to happen this year? No, but it could happen next year. And they're teasing it because everybody's buying into it. Then she's going to show up in WWE before her contract's up, put some people over, then eventually dip the fuck out if she just doesn't agree to sign on and stay in WWE. And the thing with WWE is that they, again, I brought this up a billion times, Nick Khan, in order to keep Danielson, was willing to let him wrestle in New Japan. That's a shoot, brother. So we don't know if they're like, yeah, you can go, we'll work out, Bailey, you can have a New Japan match. Stay with us. Like, we don't know any of this shit. But I predict in our lifetimes, we'll see Bailey dip out and go to AEW for a bit. For sure, man.
The only thing I heard from them when it comes to Bailey is that Bailey has a decision to make. So that's the story. Bailey has a decision to make. She has not signed a contract. When she signs a contract, I'm sure she'll be back on TV. If she doesn't sign, I think they're doing the same thing with that Tony does. You know, it's like if or has done. He doesn't always do it, and they don't always do it. But I think the situation with her is you know, if she signs a contract, she'll probably come back and attack Lyra, and that'll be her storyline.
See, and then Dave is just like, she'll just come back and attack Lyra. Okay, I mean, no shit. Lyra beat her ass and injured her. And they did an injury angle, so it's not like she just can't come back. And it's like with Royce Keys, they do a fucking injury angle on the show where Jacob like crushes his neck and everything. And then they're reporting like he's out indefinitely and won't be. And it's like, no doubt. Like, do you watch the show, guys?
And if she never comes, if she doesn't sign, then she doesn't come back. And that's
no way.
The Madison Square Garden thing was a write-off.
And the Madison Square Garden thing's a write-off. So, like, what does that even mean? Nothing they're doing is a fucking write-off, dude. I just don't know. It's a write-off as far as like what? They did an injury angle and then she's gone, but it's a write-off even though they paid it off by having her be gone off TV for a while, probably because she had a break set up anyways, and especially if her deal isn't done until January. Fucking crazy, man. Dave is just, he's a nut job.
What?
The worst reporter of all time. So now here is Dave and Bryan giving their take on the Dominic Mysterio, the way he's been booked on the main roster. Now, again, just to reiterate, the dirt sheets come out days after I talk about on Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. Last week, I go, hey, I heard an allegedly that Undertaker had words with over a Zoom call, over a Zoom meeting with the people booking WWE's main roster, and he had words in front of people, which that could be humiliating, that could be humbling, who knows, but he had words in front of people, and it was kind of awkward about the way they're booking his top guy, his mega campeon in AAA on the main roster. And then a couple days later, the dirt sheets start running with Dom is upset with the way he's been booked. Sources are telling us Dom is upset with the. So again, I put out a tweet saying shit that I mention in passing on my comedy show, right? Like Hot Lucha Summer, the whole AAA deal went down. I was talking about it for months. I was like, yo, the Lucha Bros need to get the fuck out of AEW. Like, they're going to want to do it soon. We had that before any dirt sheets. And even WWE did a good job of keeping it under wraps. Same with the whole contracts thing. They're like, oh, this person's under a WWE contract and they're reworking contracts. And again, I was like, no, dude, in AAA, they're fucking whatever. We don't need to rehash all this 2-year-old shit. But I'm pretty confident Taker had it out. And maybe Dom's unhappy too, but the dirt sheets are playing a game of telephone. Now, I'm more inclined to believe what I heard, because the way Dom's getting booked, I mean, maybe it's like an ego thing and they're just like, fuck it, we'll beat him. Some people are like, well, you don't want to beat Dragon Lee because he's in the Roman tournament, but Dragon Lee ain't winning that shit anyways. So you don't want to beat Dom because he's the mega campeon going into Triple Mania. That makes way more fucking sense. And especially with all the crossover we're seeing as of late. And you're like highlighting AAA. So a bunch of people who are like, oh, I love OTC. I'm not really into AAA. Let me maybe check some of this out. Like, yeah, I heard WWE's working with AAA and shit, and they own it or whatever the case may be. Let me check it out because someone's fighting my OTC or whatever the fuck, right? And then the Mega Campeones just losing. I don't know. Maybe Triple H and them just view it like, they had El Grande being a mid-card jobber essentially on Raw while simultaneously he's getting over like fucking El Santo in Mexico. Maybe they just view it that way. Like, hey, it's two different markets or something. But let's hear Dave and Bry give their speculation on all of this stuff and listen to what they think they've heard.
Dom is the mega champion.
Mhm.
We're 3 weeks away from him defending the title against El Grande, Triple Mania.
Mhm.
And here he is losing.
Kevin Pierpont's been a member for 15 months, ladies and gentlemen. Get your memberships. I do bonus shows weekly or gift a membership. It's a friendly thing to do.
Sometimes in life, you got to be a hoe.
Thank you, dude.
Losing for the third straight week in a row.
Yeah, beating the world champion of their brand. That really, it's kind of a lack of respect. It's not. AEW's done the same.
Here's the other thing, right? Like Dom lost clean as a whistle, and I had actually hit somebody up who doesn't watch wrestling week in, week out, but knows a bunch about what goes on behind the scenes. I'll leave it at that. And I hit them up and was like, Dom fucking lost to Dragon Lee. And they were like, what? Like clean was their question? I went, dude, clean as you can in a Judgment Day match. Like the cleanest maybe ever. And Dom didn't have help. Now in AAA, he has help from Liv Morgan again. I don't know, again, what's going on with all that. Like, even the female Judgment Day should be running out and helping Dom and shit like that. Secure a big win. I don't know what they're doing. And maybe Dragon Lee, if Dragon Lee sneaks into the finals of this thing and it's not Penta, and maybe that's like, he had his run with AJ Styles and we signed him a while ago and Ray gave him the stamp and we're going to fucking... we're going to see Roman versus Dragon Lee maybe instead, which I think there'd be less hype on that match than Penta or whatever. Maybe that makes sense then. He beat the Mega Campeon. Hey, guys, on the road to this, he beat the Mega Campeon. But Mega Campeon didn't have the help of his friends or whatever, and that's a heel way of being like, well, because again, Dom's a heel champion, so it's like, well, yeah, he didn't. Hey, Ric Flair didn't poke him in the eyes and kick him in the balls when the ref wasn't looking. And cinch up on the tights during the roll up, so he didn't get the win. He didn't use his usual tactics or whatever. So that's a valid excuse for a heel, but it is odd. It's peculiar.
Same thing with Hechicero, but not to this degree. Not to this degree. Losing to Dragon Lee. I figured though, it's like this was a match where no matter what, the finish was going to be like that, because it's like Dragon Lee's in the tournament, so he obviously shouldn't have lost, which I'm sure was the thing that they're looking at. It's like,
no, that doesn't matter.
He's in a tournament.
That doesn't matter. You can lose if it's outside of the tournament. You can lose out and then still win a fucking tournament.
Right now, and Dom is the champion, so therefore Dom can lose. But
that doesn't even make sense. Dave's logic is just stupid.
Dom's also in the Triple Mania main event. And he's losing to Dragon Lee on
which is bigger than being in the Raw main event against Roman, depending who you ask. But in a obvious match that Roman's going to win. Whoever wins this tournament, it's not a bad thing. Sometimes the predictable thing, like, hey, we know that in most superhero movies, the hero beats the bad guy. Obviously, you're going to get Infinity Ward here and there. You're going to get fucking Doomsdayed, right? But every now and again, they'll shake it up to keep you on your toes and to keep things interesting. But typically, Spider-Man will save the fucking day, right? We know Roman's going to fucking defend his title. He's not going to drop it at the Raw in Mexico, but he's going to be taken to the limit and put on a fucking banger against whoever it is, right? A 5-star classic, 7 stars in the Tokyo Dome classic, right? So Dom losing while being in the main event of AAA and then losing to a guy in the AAA tournament, and then he might actually win that match and leave with the title in AAA. Which my prediction is I don't even think El Grande gets the belt yet. Maybe that's a fool's fucking paradise I'm living in by saying that, but this could result in Dom retains and then Dragon Lee goes, well, I'm coming for the fucking Mega Campeon. I pinned you, Dom. And then that's how they progress that along. And then eventually El Grande gets it. Who knows? But yeah, I just think it's kind of fucked to have a guy in a AAA tournament to challenge Roman beating the Mega Campeon is kind of fucked. But for the Raw audience, if Dragon Lee makes it to the finals, then that's actually the right move in a way, because you go, look, he beat the Mega Campeon. He might beat the world champ here on Raw, like that does, and then you have the out with Dom. So it's not as egregious as whatever. I don't know if this has anything to do with like Undertaker humiliating anyone. This could be in the long-term plans, but Dom has cooled off significantly. We all have to agree on that. And it's not that he needs infinity wins, but there is something to be said about like him just being gone forever. Then he comes back and he's kind of a J-Brone and he has to beat up midgets to try and get cheap heat. It just, I don't know. They're fucking around with Dom. And I'm glad they stuck Liv with him in AAA, because that will get him heated up more in AAA. He's already got heat in AAA, but what makes Dom interesting, I've said this a million times, is when he's with Rhea, when he's with Liv, when he's got Roxanne hitting on him while Liv's gone. That's what puts so much heat on Dom, because he's a dirty babyface rat, and it's him and Liv and him and Rhea going, oh, I spent time in prison and all of this stuff, like him cheating on Rhea with Liv and stuff. That's what makes him an asshole. He's got the girl everybody wants. You got Drake fawning over Rhea, and she's on Dom's arm, giving him butterfly kisses or whatever. It's like, that's what makes you fucking really hate the guy more than just the cheating stuff and the shitty mustache,
But
it was one thing when he had that Danhausen match, and it was just the other guy got a bag. It's like he didn't get pinned or anything, but now he's just getting pinned week after week.
Yeah, but in that match was a clown show, and it's like, that's fine. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Clown shows are part of wrestling, but a world heavyweight champion,
yeah, it's Dave's favorite shit,
of a brand, should not be in the clown show match, and he was, but and that was higher profile than this. This is just, and they had a good match. Dragon Lee's great if they just let you, they don't interfere with him and just let him go out there. And
they don't interfere with him, Dave. It's not interfering with a wrestler saying, don't like break your neck for Meltzer stars, just like, his TV match. Dave thinks that's interfering with them just like going out there and fucking needing neck fusion, because I'm a mark and that's what I want to see all the time, because I'm fucking quantity over quality. I just want moves, injury.
And do it. He's really, really good. They just don't give him any credibility. Although they did here, though.
They don't give Dragon Lee any credibility, but they did here, and they also gave him a world tag title run with AJ Styles that shockingly got over and delivered some classic fucking tag matches. But they don't give Dragon Lee any credibility. Like the time Rey Mysterio came out and said, this is the future of Lucha Libre, they don't give him any credibility. Dave is such a lying, fraudulent fucking moron who just says shit. He just says shit to say shit. Oh my goodness. So, Dave Meltzer now talks about AEW. Okay. But before we get into that, he talks a little bit about journalism and what good journalism is. And he actually argues with Cutie Pie Bry about AEW. We're going to get into all of that. But he talks about journalism, and he talks about Dana White here in this clip. And again, he's just trying to shit on TKO any which way he can. And he talks about what real journalism is and what does wrestling journalism look like in the future. And he also gets caught lying about teaching at Stanford. Okay, so we're going to get into all of that right now before we get into the unhinged AEW glazing. So here is a clip of Dave talking about Dana White, and this is courtesy of Meltzer said what to go. So Meltzer said what says Dana White isn't as hungry and driven as he was in 05. How could he be so rich and powerful now? The only person who is as hungry as in 2005 is Dave Meltzer. Dave is one of the last of the Mohicans in honest and fair and balanced journalism. So again, Dave is like passes off a bunch of his internet website writings to like these fucking writers, these random uber mark ass writers. Dave spends no time studying fucking anything. He just talks out of his ass. People are like, man, he's fallen off. I think he's been a lying shithead for years. In fact, at patreon.com/Pro Wrestle Times, I do bonus episodes of Dave Meltzer. We look at some of his past shit. And he was just a phony con artist back then, too. If you ever hear Eric Bischoff and Conrad Thompson talk about old Observer quotes and whatnot, Eric is like baffled by some of it. He's like, dude, this is such like made up garbage. And he's just been doing this for years. Also, shout out Jim Cornette and Brian Last. They go over like old Meltzer files, like letters he wrote to other journalists and stuff before Dave even really was like popping in the fucking game. And he was just a condescending piece of shit back then, too. It's just how he is. He's just a cocky, thinks his shit don't stink. He's a narcissistic sociopath. And so Dave is talking about how Dana's not as hungry as he once was in 2005 now. I'll agree with that to an extent. Like when it comes to Zuffa boxing, he's all over that. When it comes to UFC, he doesn't really give a fuck, but he's just the talking head, and he put people in place who are about it and do the matchmaking and whatnot. And again, Dave Meltzer just has no place to criticize anybody for being like, oh, he's fallen off. And eventually MMA people are going to start turning on Dave. Now, they cite him a bunch because there's not a lot written on some of the old MMA shit, and he would write down the attendances and the pay-per-view buys, but we don't really know how on point he was post like a certain era. Like Dave Meltzer in his MMA pay-per-view buy analysis for UFC, we actually covered this before on Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. He actually fell off at one point as well. Like he was closer when pay-per-view was pay-per-view, he was closer as far as his predictions, his estimates, and then what the actual numbers were. And then he completely fell off and then just quit giving estimates altogether. And now they don't even do pay-per-views. It's like PLE. But it's funny because he does estimates for AEW pay-per-views, even though everything's streaming now. And his shit's all out of whack for sure. And it was for MMA before he just gave up doing that. And then WWE started doing PLE. So now he's doing his like out of whack, unable to estimate shit because of streaming for AEW, and he expects people to believe the fucking numbers. Anyways, here's a clip of him just basically trying to take shots at TKO wherever he can. And Dave's not even an MMA fan, so he has no right to even criticize anything going on in the UFC.
He doesn't have that hunger that he had in 2005 when he was trying to get this thing going.
How could he?
How could he? You're right. How could he? I don't know.
Yeah, Dave, and how could you? You've made millions of dollars more than most wrestlers, so how could you be as hungry to do proper journalism? Or do you just go in discords and in Fightful discords and steal what their fucking people are saying and the fucking AI spreadsheets they make?
The only one like that is me. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Oh my God. The only one like that is me. What a narcissistic, insane fucking person.
He had a Cuervo with him the whole time too.
He calls AI A1. He doesn't even have the same desire to read. He doesn't even spell check his shit. The only person is me. So you're a promoter, Dave?
The best guys, Tony Khan.
So you're a promoter.
Uh-oh, retard alert. Retard alert, class.
So CM Punk isn't as hungry as he was. Like, what do you mean? Just blanket statement. The only one is me. Dana White's a promoter. So are you just admitting that you're a promoter for AEW? The only one as hungry as I was, as the only one, like who in the whole planet? Like you're hungrier than Roman Reigns? Dave, you don't even spell check your own shit. You haven't even learned how to use periods and commas yet. But the only person who's as hungry as they were in 2005 is you? That's legitimately insane.
Could he?
That's unhinged.
How could he? You're right. How could he? I don't know. I think the only one like that is me. You know what I mean? And I don't even know why I do.
Do you think you're just as hungry today with your reporting as you were in 2005?
I think more so. Yeah.
Really?
Maybe not. Maybe the same. Maybe the same. I think maybe it's just harder because there's so much more.
Is
I
that
can watch.
is that driven by where the business is today, or is that driven by you?
Unhinged. Actually, it's so sociopathic. I don't even know how to respond to
You.
I've kind of realized that I'm insane. That I think it's one of those things where it's not even an addiction. Somebody told me it was an addiction the other day. I don't even think it's an addiction. I think it's something to the effect of
you're a mark for yourself. You're an insane lunatic mark for yourself who just needs to hear your own voice, and you need to fucking report shit and go, I'm right and everyone else is wrong. That's what it is, bro.
Because the state of everything is getting worse, and there's so many people who how would I say that?
So Dave lying constantly, making shit up about ESPN just to be proven by awful announcing that, and Sean Ross Sapp and these guys in ESPN, that he's completely wrong. To completely lie about numbers and do shitty estimates, to not even learn how to structure a sentence or a paragraph or use punctuation. I just can't believe what he's saying.
This. Everyone's got an opinion, but
The state of, why do you think the state of fucking pro wrestling is what it is? Everyone's got an opinion, so only your opinions matter when there's some of the worst opinions. The general consensus is worst opinions ever. Maybe in the history. In hindsight, when people read your old shit and Bischoff is like, what is this guy talking about?
nobody really, nobody studies it that hard. They just give an opinion without really studying it. That I kind of think that
wow,
it's kind of important to be someone who's like kind of balanced and kind of.
You're the most unbalanced guy ever, saying it's important to study and be balanced. Meanwhile, he's studying Fightful Discords. Meanwhile, he's having discourse with J-Cup. Come on, man. This is actually so fucking insane.
Understands the actual business.
Dave, you don't understand the business. You just lied about ESPN. You try to say you conflate Nielsen numbers with Netflix numbers, Dave. You think views are the same as Nielsen ratings and multipliers and averages. How can you say this?
Opinion, as opposed to just flying off the handle saying, oh, Roman Reigns is no good, or whatever stupid thing that you see people saying. I mean, I see stuff every day where it's just like.
He's going at Conrad. So you know more about the business side of wrestling than Eric Bischoff or even Conrad, who's actually put on events. You don't put on events, Dave. You just talk about shit and you're a mark for yourself. And a billionaire was on your message board and was a mark for you. And now you think your shit don't stink, dude? He's always thought his shit didn't stink. This is one of the most unhinged cope videos of all time.
You guys just don't understand the business of this thing at all.
Okay, take away Twitter, and do you still have that same opinion?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my God. So take away Twitter, and you have the Dutch Mantels and the Jim Cornettes and the Eric Bischoff, and they all don't understand the business of pro wrestling more than Dave Meltzer. And even his own co-host has to go, take away Twitter, Dave, because you're on Twitter all day. But the guy with the papers in his room,
has papers everywhere in his room.
who wiggles his tongue out and claps like a fucking seal and gets worked by Arena Mexico, who go, yeah, we sold the building out again. So he goes, oh, it's constant sellouts. And thinks that Dynamite's beating Raw in the ratings, who just makes shit up and goes, Tokyo will be in Backlash. Tokyo will be in Backlash, Brian.
He
I'm
had
a
Cuervo with him the whole time, too.
Backlash will be in Tokyo because he sees an AI picture on Twitter. And the guy who omits facts from matches and just ignores, and again, how apropos I bring this up, because in Takeshita Okada match a while back, there was a screwdriver stabbing to the head in front of the referee. Dave omits that from his paper. He just goes, besides the finish. He just glazes the match, talks about Snapdragon onto the apron, onto the outside, a mounted plancha into the superplex, literally breaking down move by move, typing it out furiously, while his other hand's KY jellied up and he's furiously fapping. Dave's just listing fucking moves. And then the guy goes, other than the finish, it was a tremendous match. And the finish was a screwdriver stabbing to the head in front of the referee that the ref had to pretend he didn't see. And then Dave rates it a 4.5 in his newsletter. That's honest journalism, fair, studying the business. And again, Dave's going to defend a screwdriver stabbing spot today. Time Cop, go figure, because the best guy's Tony Khan. And let's continue this unhinged. This is unhinged.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, but what happens when you eventually do have to stop going as hard as you're going? It's not like,
know.
It's not
It's
like
just gonna
young Cody Meltzer
So
is taking your spot
and
here.
no one's
So there you go. The other day I was talking about Dave's kid, and I didn't want to like say it because he would always go, oh, it's actually named after one of Dusty Rhodes's kids. And so I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Cody Meltzer, but they just stooged it right there. So shout him out. Okay, shout out Meltzer Jr., right?
poor people don't like AEW.
He shouldn't take any heat because of his dumbass daddy. And hopefully he isn't stunting like his daddy one day, because that's all Dave is. He's a dick stuntsman. You know what I mean? He just does the splits on it, as Kenny Omega would say, for tone. And it's crazy because Dave is literally saying nobody works as hard as me, even though he doesn't work hard at all. Like, it's not that hard to just spout out a bunch of nonsense and type without editing and just run on sentences, shit that doesn't make sense, leaving out facts. Like, it's way easier to just imagine something and type out fake shit that you're inventing. It's way harder to fact check and due diligence and actually write and do like journalism and fact check and source and call this guy, call that guy, compare notes. It's way harder to do that. But Dave flexes, I just spew out 80 million words of nonsense. And I know better than anybody. And when I leave the game, it's going to be fucked. But I thought your mission was you're still in the game, Dave, because there needs to be somebody fair and balanced like you. So you're putting over people like Elbu. That's who Dave interacts with. Somebody who's been caught making shit up about people. Somebody who I've seen the DMs of him and AEW talent chewing Elbu out, and he's just skirting accountability. I've seen it. And he's just like, they're just like prying to get even an apology privately out of the fucking guy, getting called out publicly. Or are you talking about BJ Bethel, Dave, who just makes shit up and even backtracks on shit you won't, that you're doubling down on? Even BJ Bethel eventually was like, the 500,000, I didn't say it was actual. And now Dave goes, if they did do this number, I mean, it's beating Raw. Or are you talking about Jacob, who openly admits that he just makes shit up and hates the Fed is evil, and everyone who likes the Fed is retarded? I don't even say that about AEW fans. A bunch of them are. A bunch of WWE fans are too. But like, This guy openly is just clearly like a Redditor, an anti-WWE Redditor type guy who clearly is just unfucking serious. Okay, he readily admits that. I actually give him credit for that. Unlike Dave, who pretends he's the all-seeing eye of pro wrestling. And when he leaves, the game will be for the worse. Meanwhile, it'll be better when he leaves now. I don't want Dave to leave the game. I hope that he ends up in a Futurama head bubble, right? I hope we get the technology where he can download his consciousness into a fucking Tesla robot and live forever and do this forever so I can continue to felt him. That's what I hope and pray for. Okay.
No. I hope maybe, I mean, there are people there. It's like I don't feel like I'm the last. I feel that there's a few people that are, but there's not many. I mean, John Pollock, obviously, but I don't feel that
John Pollock, who just hates WWE. And like, bro, I grew up watching John Pollock on the Fight Network in Canada. And his MMA coverage was brilliant. His pro wrestling shit, like he's so bitter and upset and mad about WWE.
Brandon, I mean, he's very, very different from me, but he does a great job.
He's different from Dave. So Dave goes, I mean, Brandon Thurston. But he goes, I mean, he's different than me because Thurston, and I give Thurston credit, he will like sue buildings to get the number. And Dave's like, he's very different than me because he brings up the turnstile count because he exposes that there was 18 to 20,000 people that actually paid to be at All In Texas, or whatever the estimate was that he came out with. So Dave goes, that's different than me. He actually does his diligence, puts in hard work, and tries to fucking... It is funny, though, because both Dave and Meltzer tried to say that Netflix was lying about their numbers and got completely pwned. Dave got pwned. And I think Awful Wrestling, not Awful Announcing, but AEW Awful Wrestling was the cause of Thurston retracting a whole ass Raw Netflix number breakdown because he fucked up. And it's funny. It's like, just accept it, guys. It's views. It's like YouTube, eh? So Netflix posts their views, and those numbers will increase over time, and there's no multiplier average put into that. It's just, it's not Nielsen. It's views. So you can assume that out of those views, there's more people watching. It's not just one person watching on their phone. It's WWE and it's Netflix. So a bunch of those single views, you could multiply those by whatever and play the Nielsen game, which would mean the number would be even more. But they're too dumb to understand this shit. And anybody who does their due diligence, Dave, he just can't handle it.
Wrestling and WrestleNomics.
Yeah, I mean, those guys are really, really good at what they do. They're honest, I like and respect them a lot. And there's others, and there's people who, work hard on breaking stories and everything, and are good at that.
By the way, John Pollock on the dark side.
So Dave literally going, nobody works as hard as me, like they did back in the day. But then he just admits at the end, I mean, there's people who work harder at breaking stories. So you admit that you don't. I thought that's your whole job. You're the newsletter. Well, my newsletter is just to report on what happens in wrestling and then insert my opinion where it isn't warranted, and then make shit up about people I like, and then make shit up about people I don't like, and act as though it's fact. And my audience is the smartest. We're smarter. We get it right. The general consensus, according to our polls, and we're the all-seeing eye. And I'll condescend you if you question me whatsoever. Meanwhile, there's people out there who give their opinions and go, I don't like the cast thing. And someone can go, oh, come on now, Phil, that's not very fair. I think you're wrong on that. Here's what I think, and da-da-da. And then that's part of being a fan. But Dave won't admit he's a fan. He works harder than Dana White does. And journalism is finished. When Dave leaves, journalism's done. It's over, according to Dave. Throw in the towel, ring the bell, because it's over. Right? And so I think this is, so this is the clip we just listened to, but in video form. Thank God we did it in audio form, because I don't want to look at Dave's dumbass face. Look at the dumbass face he's making just to begin this whole thing. You know he's about to say some dumb shit. So we move along with the whole journalism discourse, and Dave Meltzer gets completely exposed here. He claimed over the years, and even claims here, in a spurg out. He absolutely spurgs out here. It is fucking hilarious, guys.
Or, the young superstar, babyface, the former heel thing.
So this guy, Tim Kilgore. Oh, and he deleted the post. Why did he delete it? No. Why did this guy delete? I wonder if there's an update on this. We will have to pull this up over here. Why did he delete? Interesting. Either way, he posted a screen, maybe because the person that he screen grabbed is a legit professor at Stanford. And maybe that person was like, can you please delete that? Okay, but this guy posted, I should have screen grabbed it. Fuck. He posted, look, I asked my old professor who worked in the department that you said you spoke at or that you taught at. Dave claims he's taught at Stanford. Okay. And he's like, I emailed this guy and he gave the name. And now I didn't screen grab it like a dumbass. Fuck, I have to screen grab shit like that. Because we could have fact checked live. And that's what I was intending on doing. We're going to look up this guy. Does he really work at this department? Right? All of these things. But here's the initial tweet. I'll read it. It's really small here. So Tim Kilgore goes, Dave, Professor Foster from Stanford said you were a guest speaker for exactly one lecture and that you did not teach classes there. And he showed a screen grab of emails between him and someone else. So potentially, Professor Foster reached out and was like, bro, I'm a professional teacher. I'm not allowed to disclose shit like that. You can't do that. You might get me fired or something. That could be the case. But we don't know. Okay. The guy deleted it, which is incredibly unfortunate. And I apologize. I didn't screen grab the email itself because we could have fact checked this along the way. Okay. So this guy could be a liar too. We have to actually be on high alert. Why did he retract this? Other than unless he puts out a tweet going, yeah, the guy asked me to. Liar! I don't know if we can believe him. But Dave spurged out. This is a clear spurg out. So Dave goes, obviously never said that once or twice a year over the course of more than 2 decades. Then he edits it and posts a new version. Obviously, he never said that once or twice a year over the course of more than 2 decades. So it's the same thing. Let me just see if there's any differences. It's like, can you point out the 3 differences in this image? No. So he spurged out and did 2 version histories of the same thing. And then he adds to it. So this is the latest post. 2 prior version histories. Obviously, he never said that, once or twice a year over the course of more than 2 decades, not to mention working with him on classes with the NFL Players Association. And because, let's say Dave did do that, he thinks that he would be a top NFL reporter because he's done shit like that. Meanwhile, he would get lapped. The actual NFL reporters would fucking run circles around this guy. Which is fucking hilarious, Dave. Right? Patrick Mahomes. Never forget. #never forget Patrick Mahomes.
He had Cuervo with him the whole time, too.
So I wish I screen grabbed the email, but the email, I read it. He did say, it just said like, no, he didn't teach, he whatever the fuck. So I fucked that up. That's definitely a botch, but this is clearly a spurg out. Like he puts out a tweet and then he quickly goes to do a new version history, but then he accidentally like saves this and like added an extra space after this period or something. And then he quickly again goes, I need to add, not to mention working with him in classes with the NFL. So I don't know. I'll give Dave the benefit of the doubt in that maybe he's spoken there that many times. I'm pressing X to doubt like Dave just in general. Like I don't believe he's like talking there multiple times a year. Maybe he has. I don't fucking know, but I'm hitting X to doubt because Dave exaggerates. He also tried to claim that he fucking did some stuff in Japan that nobody can prove. Like he did some wrestling training, but he doesn't specify it's wrestling training. And it's like, well, you didn't work a match. So, and he says shit like he'd be the top NFL reporter. He's spurging out here like, oh my God, I got to correct the record on this. And here's the problem. Dave just instantly blocked this guy too. So we pwned him and then it's just an instant block, which when that one guy posted the pay-per-view numbers and Dave was like, oh shit. And it exposed Dave. He just blocked the guy right away too. Now, maybe this Tim Kilgore guy, I don't have his Twitter history. If he's just pestering at Dave, like there's some people where on Twitter where it's just like they're just pestering constantly. And then it's like, all right, I'm just muting or blocking because it's just like annoying to see this. And it's just like, I don't need to even look at this. Typically, it's people you don't engage with that much. Right. But Dave fucking definitely was like melting down to set the record straight. We will see. We will see if there's an update on this. But crazy that the guy deleted it. And I'm going to actually give Tim Kilgore the benefit of the doubt that potentially the professor was like, bro, you're blowing up my spot. You can't do that. I sent you that email in confidentiality. Right? Like you can't just leak that, name my name, and then say my name, say my name. This shit is public. It's on fucking Twitter. Don't do that shit. It's lame. So I don't know, man, but Dave was definitely gotten to, as Meltzer said, what showed right here. So we move along. And that was the journalistic integrity portion of Dave. We're about to get into some AEW stuff. Folks, hit the like. Hit the subscribe, hit the retweet if you're on X. If you're watching on replay, hype the video. You get 3 free hypes a week. Fucking hype the video up. And I appreciate you guys so much. Become a member. Check out patreon.com/Pro Wrestle Times. I do bonus Dave episodes. And there's a bunch of other shit on there that is just exclusive to Patreon. You don't get anywhere else. And there's early access and shit like that. And all the member shows are there too. So if you're like, I prefer Patreon instead of being a channel member on YouTube, then do that. So, and everyone hit the like on the YouTube vid. Over 100 watching. Run those likes up to 100. You hate watchers. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the best guy, Tony Khan, which is Dave Meltzer's segment here. So just like the WWE section of Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week, we start the AEW section with Wrestling Observer newsletter star ratings. So again, Mercedes and Maya World not rated, which again, like, who cares? But he has a vendetta against Monet a little bit, and I don't know, he says weird shit like all the WWE UK fans were mostly women and minorities, and therefore entrances, Bryan. So I don't know, man. It seems weird he wouldn't rate their fucking match, but who gives a shit? And you know, he also states the reason he didn't rate it is because he sees some matches live, but then they're different than TV when you watch them on TV. So that means any match he's ever seen live, the rating isn't a true rating because the TV rating would be the real rating because that's how he's objectively rated most of his fucking matches that he's ever seen. Dave's just tarded. Okay, he is R-tarded, and so Mercedes Maya not rated. Dorada versus Commander, 5 stars. Gabe Kidd versus Hanare, 5 stars. Osprey versus Davis, 4 3/4 stars. Fletcher versus Speedball, 4 3/4 stars. Fletcher versus Dorada, 4.5 stars. ZSJ versus Oscar, 4.5 stars. Cavernario versus Bandito, 4.5 stars. Hangman, I almost threw up in my mouth. Hangman and Brodito versus Demand, 4 1/4 stars. Mystico, Jericho, Darby versus Don Callis family, 4 1/4 stars. Andrade versus Ciampa versus Commander, 4 1/4 stars. Wolf versus Maloney, 4 1/4 stars. Kevin Knight versus Titan, 4 stars. Narita versus Uemura, 4 stars. Hechicero versus Roddy Strong, I believe, right? 3 3/4 stars. So Dave is just
so
jerking
bad. Dave
off.
is the devil. Oh.
It is just the greatest fucking wrestling of all time. In your mind. Dave DeMarco, crazy. And meanwhile, aura, level of event, fucking how over the people are, none of that matters. Dave just loves the crazy costumes and the flips, man. It's like Saturday morning cartoons for Dave, right? So he fucking glazes and gives this match 4 stars or whatever. What did he give this match again? 4 3/4 or 4.5 or whatever the fuck. Meanwhile, it was a match where a guy who knows how to fucking wrestle really well does a street fight with Osprey. And he's stabbing him in the head and just doing shit we see all the time. And all these lazy schlubs just do these stab in the head spots in kayfabe, in pro wrestling, in Minecraft, right? And so Davis is reduced to, I'm just going to like shank in Minecraft this fucking Osprey, this bruv. And it's just garbage, And they do a street fight stipulation. And Dave and Bry are going to fight here. And the fight carries over to on Twitter. And again, Garrett just licks Dave's balls. Like Dave brings up Pollock and Garrett's like, yeah, and he was on Dark Side of the Ring and they're just so awesome. We love WrestleNomics. That's right, Daddy Dave, tell him. And he's just so supportive. He's the side piece. Garrett's the side piece. Bry is the wife sticking up the finger. Sticking up the finger. Now, Dave's like, Dave, honey, you never let me get a word in. Right, but they refuse to file for divorce. They stay together for the kids, which are the fucking sickos, the observer sycophants. And so they get in a little fight here because Tone, who's the best guy, okay, we have to stay together to protect Tone.
The best guy is Tony Khan.
Their son is Tone, and they need to protect him at all costs. At least Dave does. Or else his reputation's cooked. And therefore, that's why Bry sits there in the cuck chair and takes this shit. He's forced to. Because once Dave's reputation goes, Bryan and those guys are fucking cooked. And so Tone sets up this stipulation where it's a street fight, but everyone's barred from ringside. So what if they start brawling outside of the ring? What if they brawl in the crowd? What if they brawl near the stage area? What if they brawl backstage for a bit of the street fight? Tone, do you understand what a street fight is? What if it turns into the Tupelo concession stand? You know what I mean? What if they're brawling in the fucking concession stand? How are you barred from ringside in a street fight where there's no DQ, or else what? Everyone's barred from ringside. Okay, what if they brawl backstage in Gorilla? Well, you can't do that because I'll fear for my life. How does that make any sense? It's literally the dumbest, ass backwards. None of these people know what they're doing. It's middle schoolers playing wrestling, and they think title is cool. Stipulation equals cool. Crazy ass move where you break your neck is cool. Oh my God, he's stabbing him. Cool. In Minecraft, cool. it's little kid brained, and they go, it's the highest level. Some people just don't understand the nuance. No, it's lazy. There's no psychology, right? There's no psychology to the Bucks going, okay, we super kick, you kip up, power up, hidden blade / house call. We all lay there. So duck under, super kick, but that's not psychology. It's just listing moves that you do. Why are you ducking under? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing are you hitting your comeback and then cutting it off? Why does Edge just go, yeah, I'll do a 619 and fall on my fucking head? And John Cena goes, okay, they're calling for the 619, so let's tease the setup. Why? Well, because there's it's not just like a move where you power someone up in the air and it could be any move I'm doing. No, the 619 is a very specific setup that's as recognizable as the move itself. So let's do the setup, but then you fucking clothesline me when I'm coming at you, and then you cut it off, and it fucking there's layers to that, and it's such a simple thing. It's a drop toe hold into a clothesline. That's all it is. But there's so many layers to it. Just going, okay, super kick to this. Yeah, there's layers of moves, but there's no reason why. Why does this one finisher result in, I'm the spirit of Bushido is flowing through me, power up? Why does Swerve all of a sudden get the fighting spirit All Japan power up when that's not even a thing he does? But all of a sudden he's teaming with Ospreay, so he gets the fighting spirit. There's zero psychology behind that. It's just garbage, dumb shit. And when people go, yeah, it's more like anime. No, anime, I've said it, they charged the spirit bomb up for fucking 17 episodes. In anime, Vegeta doesn't reach, in Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta doesn't reach Super Saiyan 3. And he doesn't reach Super Saiyan 4 because of that. The traditional way, he has to become Golden Uzuru and then become a fucking Super Saiyan 4, right? He becomes like a Majin Super Saiyan and shit. Baby Vegeta and all this shit. He takes a different route because Goku levels up naturally. There's layers to that. There's nuance. There's psychology. There's Vegeta will do whatever it takes. It's not just everyone do moves and everybody just do moves, and it doesn't really matter if you're babyface or heel, and everyone stabs and everybody Hurricane Ranas and everybody fighting spirits and everybody tombstones to the apron and everybody. That's just people doing shit, man.
Will Ospreay and
They argue about the psychology behind the simplest thing. Everyone barred from ringside, but it's a street fight. Hey, that's fucking dumb. Everybody agrees that's fucking dumb. Hey, my name's Phil, and that shit's fucking stupid. You guys realize that, right? And Bry's like, I'm trying here, Dave. And even he calls it out. And then the fight carries out to Twitter. And then you have Marks going, they're just working people up for the fucking... Okay, and I'm making fun of it regardless. I'm going to make fun of it, whether it's a work or a shoot. We're making fun of it, dummies. Yeah. So,
Mark Davis.
This went very long, bloody as hell.
How do you have a street fight where no one's allowed at ringside? It's ridiculous.
What do you mean?
It's a street fight.
What do you mean, he says? Whoa!
What's going to happen, a DQ? Which, by the way, brings me to the other question.
Dave has no answer. There's no no answer.
They did a spot at the end of this match.
It was just a step.
They did a
It was just a step. Bro, I have to ring it again. Dude, this is Dave, the sicko Vecna of the fan base. He represents the AEW fan base at large. He does.
Uh-oh, retard alert.
I'm sorry.
Retard alert, class.
It was just a step. To them, it's just like playing WWF No Mercy. Oh, it's just a step. It's just 2K mode. Yeah, it's just a step. Who cares? Oh, it's just a belt. I mean, it was just a step. The stip should mean something. There's stipulations so that, because like, okay, people can interfere. So we want it to be in a cage, or it's a hardcore. These guys can't settle it any other way. They're going to have a street fight. They're 1-1. People have cheated, whatever. they're going to go ambulance match because I'm going to cripple you, Shane McMahon, and I'm Kane. But Dave is just
the only
sitting there.
reason I know about this is because of I know about it.
Spot where it's a street fight.
Yeah, but it's
You fight in the streets. You can do anything. Anything goes.
Yeah, but
except other people being there.
Well, good. They didn't want outside interference. That's a good thing.
Then what a fucking dumb. He doesn't believe it. That's why he's looking down like a zombified, shark-brained freak. He's just looking down. He can't even look Bryan in the eyes. Oh, well, they just didn't want interference. Then have a regular match with no interference.
That's a good thing.
So anyway, they also
that's a good thing, but no, it's not a good thing, Dave. Because it was a street fight. So when you say street fight, it's a street fight. And then when you go, well, they wanted the stip of no interference. So then that makes the street fight a bad thing. So either have a singles match and then bar people from ringside, and it's a good thing. But when you do a street fight, okay, that's a good thing, let's say. But then you bar people from ringside, now you turned it into a bad thing.
The best guy is Tony Khan.
How does it
poor people don't like AEW.
Spot near the end. Let me get to this spot here before we run out of time.
You can have street fights without outside interference. People did it for decades and decades.
Davis,
just because WWE doesn't do it, and WWE street fights mean a million people
Dave,
interfere.
it's an anything.
Just because WWE doesn't do it and they're the leader and they do things that make sense, whether you agree with the creative or not, most of their stories have beats and they actually set things up and they take their time to think things through as best as they can. Obviously, it's live and it's pro wrestling, so you got to fucking do things on the fly. Obviously, just like releasing the kabukis and shit. Yes, there are things that can be bad. But because there's rules and it's the leading pro wrestling company, why would you want to do that? Just because WWE does it doesn't mean. And Dave is just sitting here too saying something dumb. He's like, there have been street fights with no interference. No, there haven't been street fights. Name another street fight where they go, and there's no interference from the outside. Or else what? They've had street fights where people don't run in, for sure. That's not what anybody's saying. It's the fact that you make that clarification. Like these other street fights where nobody's run in the past, and not all no DQ matches, people like are there run-ins. You know what I mean? Like there's different stips, like TLC matches have no DQ. Not all of them have fucking run-ins. But that's not what anybody's saying. What Bryan's saying and what he's trying to say, Bryan, is that when it's a street fight and the Callis family could definitely be involved, even take that out of it. When it's a street fight, you don't need to say there's no run-ins, because if there are, there are, and if there aren't, there aren't. So Dave is defending this and he doesn't realize how stupid that is. Then he's like, there's been other street fights where there's been no run-ins. Well, yeah, but it's not like these other street fights. Name one where they went a street fight with no run-ins. Name one.
Without outside interference, people did it for decades and decades.
Davis,
just because WWE doesn't do it and WWE street fights mean a million people interfere.
It's an anything goes match. It's ridiculous to have an anything goes match. The word anything goes means anything goes. You're having an anything goes match, except this. That'll be an EQ.
And the finger comes out. You know, Bry's getting fucking fed up with the finger, dude.
They didn't say that. They were banned from ringside. There's a difference.
So what happens if they come in?
Well, they didn't come in.
Yeah, but what if they did? And it's not about like, well, what if aliens came down? It's not this egregious. It's just trying to the reason it's okay to go, but what if this happened in this instance is because you're trying to point out to Dave, a dumb guy, the only person on planet Earth who doesn't understand this shit, who claims he's the hardest working journalist and nobody fucking works as hard as him or gets their facts straight as him. And he studies the business better than anybody else, but he doesn't realize why it's like a hat on a hat that makes both hats seem fucking stupid. I don't even know how to explain this. Like, It's not even putting a hat on a fucking hat. It's you took a street fight and then for no reason you just went, hey, I'm a dumb fuck. This is what Tony did. He went, I'm fucking really dumb and I'm going to just say some shit that doesn't make fucking sense. When I just could have had nobody run in. But then how do you explain why Callis family members didn't run in? I don't know. You fucking do the match. Nobody runs in and then you tell stories on your show and you have Davis backstage go, why didn't anybody come for me, dude? Well, we were busy dealing with this. My hands are tied, Davis. Look, we'll make it up to you. And you make the fucking Callis family more interesting than what you have been doing, other than they just all stab with screwdrivers. Maybe that. Like, holy fuck, man. This shit is terrible.
Now, Dave, what happens if they come in during the street fight? A disqualification?
No, what happens is what Tony Khan says for the Continental when they do the same exact thing.
No, because the Continental has rules.
No one's allowed at ringside, and he has said
it's not no DQ.
That if someone comes out to do that, they are fired. So that's what happens.
So Tone said in an Instagram live, if you come out when I tell you not to, you're fired. No, he said that in one instance. So this is pro wrestling. So nobody knows the rules. Like in AEW, there's no clear-cut tag rules. There's no really clear-cut rules for any match type. And this is just adding to the fucking bullshittery that is AEW and all the match types that don't even make sense. You have matches like the fucking Casino Gauntlet that don't even make sense. People fight to be number 1 and 2 in the match. That doesn't make sense. The stipulation doesn't even make sense to begin with. But people mark out for it because it's like a knockoff Rumble that doesn't make sense. The first 2 people aren't going to pin each other. We already know because the whole allure, if Tone did that, you're ripping the fans off because you called it a Casino Gauntlet. And if 15 people and Nigel McGuinness don't do run-ins during the match or make entrances during that match, the fans are going to go, what? You robbed us. Like if the first 2 people just pin each other, then it's over. But if you do that, people are going to go, what the fuck? I thought it was a gauntlet match. What makes this a gauntlet? The match type, by definition, in kayfabe and real life, is retarded. And it's insulting to your intelligence as a fan. Point blank, period. No debate on the Casino Gauntlet. There's 15 guys backstage. Or there's 7 guys or 10 guys. Doesn't matter. It's going to be more than the first 2 guys. Andrade and MJF aren't just going to pin each other. So the match either needs to be elimination or war games. Once the last guy makes his entrance, then it's elimination or it's 1 fall to a finish. But they don't make any of this stuff clear and they don't actually think things through. So instead of just being objective about that, Dave is going to shill this match and go, it's like the Continental Classic. No, because the Continental Classic has rules and you can get DQ'd and shit. And he says nobody runs in the Continental Classic or you're fired or fined. Okay, well, guess what? And also, nobody's fired or fined. The fucking Bucks beat up Tone. They didn't get fired or fined. They got control of the fucking show. And then they just turned into baby faces randomly. And Tone's like, yeah, you guys are fine to just do your thing. So no, that's not like all we know in AEW is the Bumba Clock Clan, Whitepool Combat Clan, Death Riders do a million run-ins and kidnap people and tie them up and fucking put plastic bags on their heads and drown them and run in, constantly interference and nothing happened. Literally nothing happened. Mox just gets booked and according to Tony, storms into the office and goes, I have a match. I'm looking for a fight tonight. And then he just books them in matches. So literally no consequences, 0 consequences for any actions. There's no authority figure, but we're just supposed to assume because they go, yeah, and everyone's barred from ringside, but there's no rules. So no, reiterate that. Tone has to come on TV and go, if anybody runs in during this street fight, there are no rules besides if anybody gets involved in this fight. Doesn't matter if they're in. This is how you get it over. Ready? Dave, you dumb fuck. And Tone, you Mickey Mouse motherfucker. This is how you get this shit over. You go, if anybody gets involved in this match, in this street fight between these 2, especially I'm looking at you, Callis family. I don't care if they're fighting in the parking lot, in the fucking crowd, in the concession stand. If anybody gets involved beyond these two competitors and the ref, they're fucking fired. And that goes for every ring announcer and every fucking wrestler in the back. That's all you got to do. Say this shit on your TV show. Instead, they insult your intelligence and they don't know what they're doing.
Tornado Classic is supposed to be like a wrestling tournament. This is a street fight. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Answer this question.
If somebody came out, he'd violate the steps.
Answer me this question.
You want him violating steps?
Okay, can you answer
You
this
want
next
them
question?
violating steps. This is how dumb they are. Dude, this is how dumb Dave is. And illogical. And how much he sweeps. You just make these stupid steps, and because they're stupid, it doesn't make it not stupid just because it's a stip on the show. Well, Tone said it's a stip, so okay, but Tone's a terrible booker, and it's stupid. It doesn't make sense. So you have to be able to point that out. Dave literally was going on a rant going, once I'm done in the media, in this media game, the game's fucking done without me because nobody will be objective. And this is the most like subjective, stupid, dumb shit ever.
And especially something as silly as this.
It's not silly, Dave. You are fucking silly and you're
You
coping.
are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
Oh my God, dude. As silly as this.
Will Ospreay and Mark
so
David.
silly. They have a no rules match, and then Tone says, but there is this one rule, but they don't really say it. The commentary announces it. And so again, man, these two continue their fucking argument, and shout out Triplehausen's thoughts. He says the divorce is going to be better than any wrestling angle. AEW is broken. Dave and Alvarez can't handle it anymore. And you have people being like, man, they're just working
The
everybody.
only reason I know about this is because I know about it.
Okay, so I'm going to make fun of them. Fuck are you talking about? So the Observer posts, how do you have a street fight where no one's allowed at ringside? It's ridiculous. What's going to happen? So Dave is so triggered that he quote tweets the Observer and like undermines the clip that the Observer made. And Dave goes, arguing in favor of outside interference in a match where the stip is nobody is allowed to interfere is something. No, Dave, the stip is it's a street fight. And then the other stip is, but nobody can interfere at ringside. Here's the problem too. Dave is just whittling it down. And this is what intellectually dishonest people do. They try to whittle it down to no outside interference. No, dude, they said the words nobody's allowed at ringside. That's the problem too. The vernacular that was used was barred from ringside. So what if they brawl out into the parking lot? It's objectively stupid, Dave. Especially with no authority figure on the show. So Bryan quote tweets this and goes, it's a no rules match with rules. Dave, it's what? I need one of those for the soundboard. And then Dave quote tweets and goes, well, you are arguing in favor of, outside interference in a match where, the advertised stip was nobody allowed at ringside and no interference. No, it was nobody allowed at ringside and a street fight. And that's stupid. Just because they announce a stip, just because you do a mimosa match, doesn't mean a mimosa match isn't dumb as fuck. Do you get it, Dave? Just because you do let's fight on a moving truck with hay bales and garbage cans and you're Dusty Rhodes' kid, it doesn't mean that isn't a dumb ass idea for a match. Just because you do stadium stampede and anarchy in the arena and call them two different things, and the Bucks use barbed wire exploding super kicks to the head against people, which should equal death. And then Mox shows up 3 days later on Dynamite, no selling, no bandages, no nothing. He's just wrestling a match. It doesn't mean that sort of shit isn't dumb, and those aren't dumb stips. Just because the Casino Gauntlet is, hey, it's the Casino Gauntlet, and the first person to get a pin wins, but we know that there's 15 guys sitting backstage waiting to enter the match, doesn't mean it's not stupid just because you put it on TV. Okay? Like, what the fuck are we doing here, Dave? So Bryan goes, no, I am arguing that the idea of a street fight with nobody can interfere rules is inherently ridiculous because of the concept of what a street fight is. See, Bryan, I can get to the point way quicker. It took you so long, you couldn't even do it on the air. If you can get angry at someone at the sushi place and say, now this is just dumb. Like, dude, people are so bad with the analogies. Dude, you just point out point blank. So what if they brawl out to the backstage area? Nobody can get involved. They said everyone's barred from ringside. That doesn't make sense in a match that isn't confined to just the ring other than where the fall takes place. And meanwhile, why does the fall take place in the ring in a street fight? Well, just because WWE does it. That's why, Dave. That's why all these rules exist. In a triple threat, there's no DQ. That's why that exists in AEW too. Because WWF. So you're just cherry picking to go, well, just because WWE does it this way. Okay, then why isn't it falls count anywhere? The fuck are we? Why limit it there then? I'm just going to pin the guy on the outside because nothing matters. What matters more than the street fight element is that nobody can interfere. In Dave's mind, it just makes no sense. He's just so logically unkempt. So Bryan goes, if you get angry at someone at the sushi place, now we're talking about sushi, and say, let's take this outside. The idea that you can also add, but none of your friends can get involved is preposterous. That's not a bad analogy. I guess that's why you call it a street fight, right? It's one thing to say there will be no outside interference in the Continental Classic, which is a wrestling tournament where the idea is to respect the sanctity of the sport of pro wrestling. Boom. Thank you, Bryan, for saying that. This is not that. This was a no-rules street fight. So, yeah, it's just terrible, especially with no authority figure in place, especially with no reason why. Why? Well, because we had to, Tone had to keep the Callis family away. Well, why? Why can't they interfere? Well, they don't want the Callis family and the Bumbaclot clan all running in and brawling. Why? It's a street fight. Who gives a fuck? The rule is it's a street fight, and so probably the homies are going to get involved. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy. It's crazy. It's dumb. The fact Dave thinks he's correct. Like, he's condescending Bryan, going, you're arguing about saying it as if what Bryan's saying is stupid. Meanwhile, what Dave is saying is stupid. And this isn't a two-sided argument where it's like, well, it depends what side of the fence you're on this. No, it's stupid and bad. Same with the Casino Gauntlet. There's no refuting my explanation of why the stipulation's bad. I mark out for it too. I like the Royal Rumble. You got to figure out like Battle Riot or whatever. They figured it out where you can go over the top or pin or submitted. Okay, you're just like throwing a monkey wrench into the Royal Rumble concept. The Casino Gauntlet does not make sense. I don't care what anybody says, and nobody would try to earn the top spot. You wouldn't fight in a match to try and be number one in the match. And the wrestlers do that. MJF fights for, I'm going to win this match, bud, and I'm going to be number one in the Casino Gauntlet match. You wouldn't want to be number one. Well, yeah, because if you pin your opponent, no, because we know, because if the first two guys pin each other in the first 3 minutes, imagine that. The first Andrade and MJF go out there, someone gets pinned in 3 minutes, nobody else enters, which is the reasoning why you want the number one slot in the first place, because you were like, I could beat that guy in 3 minutes. That doesn't make sense because there's 15 guys backstage, and that's not a gauntlet match, and all the fans would go, what the fuck? So in kayfabe and in real life, it does not make sense. Same thing with this. It does not make sense in kayfabe or real life to have a street fight with no fucking interference. It doesn't mean you have to do interference, Dave, because that's what Dave's trying to do. Well, I mean, street fights, they've happened with no interference. Yeah, no one's saying that there needs to be interference. That's another conversation. There doesn't need to be interference, but you can't say that can't be interference. Or if you do that, you have to give a reason. Like Tone has to, like I said, get on screen. I always offer a solution. Your boy Phil doesn't just say shit. I offer better solutions. He gets on camera and goes, if anyone, listen, I don't want the fucking Bumbleclock clan and the Callis family wrecking this whole arena. Somebody could get hurt. I don't want them tearing this place apart because I know they're all going to get involved. So it's a street fight. Anything goes. However, the one rule is the fall takes place in the ring. And the second rule is if any of you motherfuckers, anybody gets involved in this shit, fired or fined. Okay, then I believe it. I go, God damn, he's given like a story behind. He doesn't want West Side Story breaking out in his fucking, you know? So, you know, Dave gets felted again by Switchblade 97, who goes, this is what a compromised reporter looks like. The guy who once told us 18 to 49 is all that matters is now reporting anything but the 18 to 49. I wonder who fed Dave these numbers. And it's funny because I told y'all Dave's going to play catch up, right? Netflix is like, they have a key demo. They're trying to sell shit to from 3 to 10 years old. And they're trying to sell to fucking 12 to 18 and fucking 25 to 54 and 18 to 49, like the 18 to 49. So Dave went from saying all that matters is the overall viewership. Then he starts saying that 18 to 49 is all that matters. Now TNA will do 175,000 viewers and do the same key demo as Collision that does 315,000 viewers or whatever. Okay. So Dave has this to say. Well, you know, Dynamite did 694K over the nearly 3 hours, 736K and 0.21 in the 25 to 54 over normal time slot on the road, but we'll have more Sunday. So he isn't including the overrun. And now he's like, look at how awesome this key demo is. But anytime you bring these things up to Dave, he goes, all that matters is the 18 to 49. So Dave has said all that matters is drawing money. And then all that matters, like implying that like whoever's bringing in the most money is doing the best. Then he says the overall rating is what matters. Then he's saying the key demo is what matters. And now he's saying, look at how good they did in 25 to 54. And why? It's because the AEW key demos are down year over year. So we move along here, and that's just Dave being unhinged again. So here is Dave doing more fucking sweeping and blaming the fans for this shit Dynamite and some of the stuff going on Collision as of late. And, you know, people point out here, I'm seeing, look, they said that the people who didn't get into the casino gauntlet, they said on commentary, well, they're upset about it. It's still fucking dumb because you wouldn't fight to get the number one slot, period. Because otherwise that we know it's not just going to end in 3 minutes between two guys. That would be like a rip-off false advertising of a gauntlet match to the fans in a way. Again, man, I keep the same energy. It's like on Raw. Solo tells LA Knight, yeah, man, if you don't help me out, the Usos are just going to run in and fuck me up. Meanwhile, Solo's the master of running in and distracting people. So what happens in his match with Jay? He fucking lets Jimmy distract him and then he loses. What a dumb fuck. And it's even dumber that they had him say anything to LA Knight. It makes him look like a stupid asshole because we know that he would know either Jimmy runs in, beats me up, and I win by DQ, or if he gets on the apron, no sell it. I'm not going to sell for that shit because I'm not going to spike him or anything because that's the play I run. And I said I knew this was going to happen. I'm just going to ignore his bitch ass unless he comes in the ring. Jimmy had to come in the ring, super kick his ass or low blow him while nobody's looking. Okay, then you got me there. but that's not what happened. So if something's dumb, you got to say it's fucking dumb. It doesn't matter just because they say some dumb shit on the show. And I'm not meaning to go off on chat or anything. I love you guys, but I'm just saying, like, just because they say dumb shit on the show and then dumb shit happens doesn't mean it's not dumb shit, right? X-Men 97 can cook, but when the final battle, spoiler alert, is like what that was in the finale, you go, what the fuck? This was like a perfect saison. Senor, you ruined my perfect saison with the last episode. What was that? You know, right? Those who know, you got to call it out. You go, well, what was that? I mean, yeah, it was great, but right? That was fucking dumb. So anyways, here's Tripplehausen, friend of the show, goes, after being baited into the answer and immediately trying to backtrack over what he said, it turns out Meltzer's response was accurate. So let's take a listen to this clip here from the Wrestling Observer Radio.
Is he going to make the cards better? You want to add another?
So this is Eddie, this is discussing sloppy Eddie Kingston, who everybody said farted in that promo. I don't know. I made a video called Fart Promo or whatever. You guys go check it out. Let me know in the comments. Did Eddie Kingston fart? I don't even know if I heard a fart. Again, maybe it was the chair squeaking or whatever, but people were roasting him for it. I just thought the promo was cringy, but
is he going to make the cards better? You want to add another match to these pay-per-views?
With Eddie Kingston? Yeah.
Really? Have you seen Eddie Kingston wrestle since he came back? Is he going to make the cards better? You want to add another match to these pay-per-views?
With Eddie Kingston? Yeah.
Really? Have you seen Eddie Kingston wrestle since he came back?
Like Dave just burying Kingston, but Kingston is sloppy like shit. I don't know. I'm not into his skinny, fat fucking... Like, and I get he was hurt and everything, but... I don't know. He kind of just
these pay-per-views.
He kind of just fell off for me, and he does these fake, like, okay, either Eddie Kingston has to legitimately spinning back fist you hard way and stiff the fuck out of you and crack your jaw and fucking bust your mouth hard way, or he does it like real shitty where it looks phony and he doesn't lay it in. You know? And that's why Awesome Kong like wore the gloves. That's why even Kairi Sane wears the one padded fist. Because she knows she's going to potato you with that shit. And Kingston, he just does like sloppy Moxley, like fake tough guy, fake All Japan style shit. So, Meltzer said, what the GOAT, post this. And shout out Duke Phillips, who said that looked kind of nasty. And this is in response to friend of the show, Alfred Kunawa here. And again, Jericho got caught up in this shitty screwdriver spot. Now, this is like the second one where Dave has glossed over it. Again, I point to where Okada and Takeshita, there was a screwdriver head stabbing in the Observer newsletter. Dave rated it 4.5 stars, and he goes over move by move by move. But then at the end of the match, he goes, besides the finish, it was a great match. And he doesn't mention the screwdriver at all. And he doesn't mention that it was right in front of the ref. So now here's Jericho just completely botching here and getting shanked in the head. And look, up to Callis to get shanked in the head with a screwdriver. In Minecraft, in pro wrestling, in kayfabe for YouTube. And I'm going to pause a bunch and babble because we're not getting Don Stevens. But this is terrible. And then Aubrey Edwards has to pretend like there's nobody in the building and she can't hear the commentary going, oh, God. And why would Jericho walk him over? And why the fuck is Aubrey Edwards just pretending like for the first time ever, I need to lay down and look at the guy who's about to quit and worm around and not look at anything else? It's just so bad on everybody's part. Okay? And it's not even like Kevin Knight, again, who's shitty at healing. He's not like grabbing her shirt and being like, ah, to try and like bide time, or being like, yeah, I'm going to grab her shirt instead of tap out and be like, you know, like nothing. There's no, it's just Callis fucks up getting in the ring. Then he runs out of the ring. Then Jericho walks towards Callis, and then Callis pulls the screwdriver out. And there's so much sloppy shop like this constantly on the fucking show. And it's a screwdriver head stabbing and drills to the head and all of this fake phony shit. It's real wrestling, man. This is the phoniest shit that people see and go, this is phony as fuck. It's just garbage. Okay. It is straight garbage. And so this guy goes, man, listen, dude, Jericho should have went back to WWE. They wouldn't make him do this dumb shit. He would be wrestling professionals who have their timing down and know where they need to fucking be. He would have been doing shit in AAA or whatever. He wouldn't be cycling through fucking old gimmicks. Other than maybe like they hit the Y2J theme and fucking just a one last hurrah throwback. There'd actually be people for him to help get over. It wouldn't just be looping, people getting stabbed with screwdrivers and drilled in the fucking head. He would be helping some of these younger talent in NXT and AAA and stuff like that, helping Dirty Dom. Imagine right now we wouldn't be having conversations about, Dom's heat fell off if they were running a program, Jericho Dom, like people were actively pitching for. Allegedly, probably true. # not a dirt sheet. So he just fucked up. Jericho, like before, is Jericho ruining his legacy in AEW? Not to make this all about Jericho, but I look and see it's not just me. Was he ruining his legacy? I wouldn't say he ruined his legacy with the learning tree or any of the stuff. It was bad, but it was like he's getting paid a shitload. And it's like saying, did Hogan, now granted, he's not Hogan level, and this is an exception. Hogan is fucking Hogan. So it is a reach here, but did Hogan ruin his legacy with the finger poke of doom and some shit that was real fucking bad? No, it didn't ruin his fucking legacy. He still was able to go to WWE and be super over when he went back. Now it is Hogan, but people do goofy shit later in their career, and Sabu didn't ruin his legacy by wrestling Joey Janela in a fucking barbed wire death trap match or whatever. Like, it didn't ruin his legacy by any means. It was like, what the fuck are you doing, buddy? But Jericho, I wouldn't say ruin it, but now this run, like him staying in AEW and then with the drills to the head, like this is in that direction. If he doesn't do some shit to rectify what he's doing now, looping, going through old gimmicks and drills to the head and screwdrivers and just completely botching, and it's Don Callis who should fucking have his timing down. People go, Callis is better than Heyman. Bitch, Heyman would never be out of place in time like that and fuck some shit up like that. Craziness, man. So this guy here goes, imagine if it were LA Knight and Jey Uso in that spot. And here's Dave sweeping for this shitty spot.
And we had Kevin Knight and Chris Jericho.
Like he did for Takeshita and Okada when they did the screwdriver right in front of the ref.
Jericho for the TNT title. And I thought this was a pretty good match, although they had a spot near the end where Jericho puts him in the Lion Tamer. And Don, at some point, was supposed to hit Jericho with a screwdriver, but I think he jumped the gun because Jericho has Kevin Knight in the Lion Tamer, and you can see him with his head. He's going like this, like you're on the wrong side of the ring or something. And then Don hits the ring, and you could see Jericho going, no, like it's the wrong time. And so
he's just yelling too. You could see it. I didn't want to play it all because we get fucking owned by everybody here.
Don freeze.
No, we really don't. Honestly, TKO is pretty gracious. TNA is the best. They don't really flag too much shit. And then AEW's okay. As you know, if you know what you're doing, you try and pause it a bunch. It's okay. People don't get a Don Stevens like they used to. People say New Japan is really strict. New Japan World's been all good with my content, but you got to transform. You got to do commentary, right? When people just sit there and make a fucking dumb face and pretend to cry,
and he goes back.
It's not transformative. You're just listening and reacting to their shit. You know who else did that? A bunch of people in the fucking crowd, like give a take.
Back out of the ring,
Well,
and I think
then Jericho, when he has the Boston Crab, or
WWE's real good with it these days. They are strict as fuck. Like almost every live show, I got it. Like I'll play like Zilla Fatu's debut. I had to clip that all out of the last show, pretty much all of it. but they're okay with it. You can transform it enough. They are the most strict with it. However, I will do like if you guys come to Memba Monday, I've played like I go fucking along with with some of the old school WWE shit, and they're really fucking lenient, and I'll admit that. And they've like froze my streams midstream, and I've had to fucking So, anyways, shout out all the wrestling companies, and MLW never flags anything. MLP never. Shout out all the feds TNA that typically don't flag shit. And even the ones who do, I understand why, but like shout out all the ones who don't, because like I'm just promoting, even if I'm critiquing your shit, I'm talking about it. So
moves.
I think he just figured, well, this thing's all screwed up, so I'm just gonna move over there for this screwdriver shot.
He moved over there to take the shot when he had him.
Unlike the Observer that struck my fucking channel, which obviously that was all handled and there are no strikes on my channel. But yeah, that was fucked. Then when the Observer
in the middle where Callis couldn't interfere easily.
Yes. So Don hits him with the screwdriver, and then Knight hits a coast to coast. Jericho kicks out, tries UFO. Jericho hits the code breaker. Jericho misses the Judas effect, almost hits Aubrey, and then Knight hits a low blow when she is defending herself and hits a Uranage and gets the pin. And match had really good heat. They were very much into Jericho.
Very good match. Very good.
Yeah, it was a really good match.
Very good match. Other than the one spot where he moved the Boston Crab, that looked kind of silly, but
that looked kind of silly. It's like some of the worst shit I've ever seen.
Aside from that,
it's like legitimately indie level. Like you make mistakes like that at an indie NXT level, and by the time you should be polished to be on TV. But instead, these guys melt down when producers and fucking wrestlers are trying to polish kids before they get on TV. And Jericho should know better. Callis should know better.
Yeah.
And then listen to Dave's analysis. So that should be it. You go, yep, let's move along. We pretty much nailed it. Dave goes fucking, he just needs to babble more bullshit that nobody like listens to.
Kevin Knight did a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, he always does cool stuff, buddy. That's the only thing about him is that he does cool stuff.
Jericho knew when to do what.
Jericho knew when to do what. Dave, he didn't know when or where to do the Boston Crab in order to fucking get stabbed in the head with a screwdriver. So how is your assessment he knew what to do?
The only reason I know about this is because of I know about it.
Holy shit, man. Dave is fried.
The timing of when to do what was quite good other than that one spot. And
what does that do? It's Chris Jericho.
There were a lot of cross-ups at the end that you thought were the finish that weren't. So yeah, overall, really, really good.
There were a lot of cross-ups now. They're not swerves, Brian. It's called cross-ups. That's another Meltzerism I need to add. And so Meltzer said, the absolute kid gloves used by Dynamite Dave to describe the Chris Jericho and Don Callis botch. I wonder why the last real journalist didn't blast his longtime stooge and upcoming interview guest like he did with Jade and Charlotte match. Now, I don't know if Callis is his upcoming interview guest or whatever. I don't know if it's Jericho. Now, I'll tell you this. Callis allegedly is a fucking Meltzer stooge. Okay, now that's allegedly. And
allegedly.
Jericho famously has been for years, but he doesn't stooge himself. Jericho stooges to people who then go. He says shit in front of people that he knows will go and talk to Dave, essentially. So it's not like him doing it. But that's how they do that shit. And they got Judas in their mind. So we move along, and again, here is Dave blaming the fucking crowd in Vegas for not giving a shit. Now, it's hilarious how AEW show consisted of a shitty overrun that nobody cares about, Swerve's return, which there was zero heat for whatsoever, mostly promo battles. Most of the show was promos, a shit opening match, and a very quick Chris Statlander match. A very quick Chris Statlander match for a women's match. Where's the stopwatch marks? I wonder what cage match rate this shit. And any of the AEW sickos who are like, man, this show is amazing. So you like 30-minute talking segments that they've been doing? Huh. Weird. That's so weird. And you like short women's matches and I thought that was just E-drone shit. They don't keep the same energy. They just say whatever. Zero morals, zero standards, zero critical thinking skills. And Dave blames the fans, going, it's a weird crowd for Dynamite in Las Vegas. Yeah, Dave, they struggled to get 1,900 people in that bitch. They don't know how to react to Will Ospreay's promo, and maybe Brian's saying that. And you're goddamn right they don't, because they don't understand who he is. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Is he a cringe lord, or is he this I'm for the people, bro? Is he the most lethal wrestling assassin of all time? Because we don't see Chris Benoit. We don't see fucking your boy Penta El Zero before he went to any of these companies, when he was snapping arms and pile driving motherfuckers, apron destroyers and all that. We don't see Kurt Angle in his peak. We don't see Brock Lesnar just wrecking motherfuckers. We don't see none of that, dude. We just see him doing flips, doing the same shit. And then he does a cross armbar now. He's playing grab ass with Daniel Garcia and fucking Wheeler Yuta in the park. That's what we see. So they don't know how to react to Will Ospreay, because nobody knows how to, and they should have did fucking MJF in the main event. And how stupid is it? They're doing MJF as, I'm really the champion, bud. But it wasn't a fuck finish. He just lost clean to Kenny. So how do you do the true champion angle? It's so fucking stupid. Unless MJF wins the casino gauntlet and then inserts himself into the main event and it becomes a triple threat and then he wins the fucking title. Otherwise, it's just stupid as shit. And they don't know how to react because none of these guys are over. You're paying Ospreay millions of dollars to draw nobody in Vegas, and then you're going to blame the fucking fans who actually showed up to support this bullshit, Dave? The same fans who were yelling, Sasha, come home. And this is what I've said innumerable times. Most AEW fans are WWE fans. I go to AEW shows when they're around. When they come to Canada, their butt. I skipped the last round, but I'm going to some WWE live events coming up, at least one of them coming up here soon. So most AEW fans are WWE fans too. And they're just like, yeah, I fuck with AEW. I like wrestling in general, and I'll fucking come to see Edge, or I like Omega or whatever. You know, Monet's going to be there. I'll check this shit out. But most WWE fans aren't also AEW fans. So they're in the crowd yelling, Sasha, come home, and fucking they can hardly draw 1,900 people, but Dave was sweating the over 50,000 or whatever they did both nights for WrestleMania, saying it's a failure. And then he's going to blame the fans who actually showed up to support this bullshit. And for all the people online, I don't pay to see promos, okay? Where's your energy for these fucking Dynamites that have been doing mostly promos? Let's take a listen to this.
I was not blown away by this segment.
Yeah, no, it wasn't as strong as the one 2 weeks ago. The one 2 weeks ago was awesome.
It was a very complex story. Remember, Dave said that. It's just so complex. There's so many layers, and it wasn't good as last week. Last week, they don't even have 250,000 views across multiple YouTube channels on the last promo that Dave said is some of the best work they've ever done in their life. Whoa.
Couple of things. The crowd was kind of weird.
No, they weren't weird. You're weird, Dave.
When Ospreay did the promo, like they certainly cheered big for him when he came out. At certain points in the promo, when he would start talking about
So they like entrances? So are they just dumb fucktards like WWE fans, and they're just there for entrances? Or are they mostly, and are they mostly minorities, Dave, and women, like you said?
Poor people don't like AEW.
He literally said that.
His family and everything.
As being critical of
talking
WWE.
about how his grandfather, that was his idol, and they were kind of there. And then he said that, like, he passed away. He didn't get to see me, win the Owen Hart tournament. He didn't get to see my my wedding. and the crowd was like kind of quiet. I mean, I guess maybe they were just listening. It was weird, but it was weird.
So they're supposed to cheer. And my grandpa died, bruv. He never saw me wedding. Yeah. Dave, you're the weirdest guy ever. And fucking dude, the sickos are crazy. I blame you though. You're toxic, dude, and they're slipping under. And I'll defend sickos against you all fucking day.
It was a weird quiet, when he was doing that. But I mean, as far as Will is doing, like, and Omega even brought it up. He's doing the heartfelt promo thing, which I think is really good because he comes off as real. And some people don't like it, and they don't like what he is when he comes off as real. But I think that the realness is actually what makes him appealing.
It's the phoniest fucks in AEW, Dave. Oh, but they're so real. It's real wrestling, Brian. So lastly, everybody's talking about Swerve is going to be joined by the New Day. And again, this is how fucking dumb they are. Hangman was a bad guy that out of nowhere just flipped good. Brodito are good guys. Hangman is just a floater who just floats around and forms different trios with different people. Swerve is a fucking heel. Everything he does is heelish, and his new music gets no reaction, and his return got no pop. There was zero heat during the shit, but he hates Hangman. So he comes out and he's like a bad guy who's about to be aligned with good guys New Day, because New Day or Daybreak are obviously going to show up in AEW, and allegedly they've signed, and they are going to get a monster pop and be fucking good guys. So it's good guy Swerve talking shit to good guy Hangman and Brodito, who everybody loves, at least the sickos do. And then New Day's going to get a monster pop, and it's going to be Swerve and New Day. And then they're going to throw in a three-way. They can't just do the fucking New Day for the tag belts, man. They can't just do the right thing and have Edge and Christian versus the New Day and fucking have a real match, draw some fucking money. They can't just do that. They have to do a three-way, three-man, a nine-man, what do you call it? A three-way trios, a three-way match. Whoa!
He had Cuervo with him the whole time, too.
Whoa! So, I'm just going off. Ricochet and the Agony, or whatever the fuck they're called, it's Agony watching this shit, are going to be in this match to be the heels and take a pin. And then the trios fucking champs are there with Hangman, and then the New Day are going to join Swerve. And I put a tweet out. I find it funny how when Bobby Lashley gets put with the Street Profits, that's racist. But then when Swerve in AEW gets put with New Day for no reason, or Keith Lee for no reason, that's not racist. Stay winning, IWC. Stay keeping that same fucking energy for everybody. But this is just mental illness, that this isn't the discussions being had. And these sorts of analyses, analese as we call it, this isn't the discourse taking place. How fucking bad and slop this is, just fitting Ricochet and them in there. Holy fuck, man. Less is more. Do you know it will sell more tickets? FTR. If you want to do a three-way, whatever, FTR, Edge and Christian, New Day, or just New Day, Edge and Christian. Edge and Christian want to be fighting champions. Okay, so they fight a bunch of teams and beat a bunch of teams every week leading up to All In, and then New Day debut. They go open challenge. Oh, I'm here with my buddy Christian, and we're having an open challenge there, buddies. And then New Day come out. And then, Tone, you want to co-op the dirt sheets? You want to be friendly to them? Pay them off to not stooge shit. How about instead of being just an open book and having them all stooge, well, Bailey for surely won't be there, but the New Day will be. Well, fuck, man. Why don't you tell me that fucking... what movie should I just spoil Brand New Day right now? Should I just start spoiling movies? Why don't you tell me that fucking the Titanic sinks before, Why don't you tell me that DiCaprio lets go with a fucking door and floats to the bottom of the ocean? You know what I mean? Like, why don't you just tell me that before I walk into the theater? Like, Tone, pay these assholes to not stooge shit. To not stooge these big things and fucking have AEW show up, or AEW, have fucking New Day show up. Yeah, AEW, you better show up too, buddy. We're starting to question the fucking quality of these shows here. You have New Day show up in AEW and just fight Edge and Christian in an open challenge, because Dave was making the argument that, oh, Edge and Christian, they're the fighting challenge champions and la 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 la. Because remember, Bryan was like, there's a tag title match, Dave, and they don't announce it. Okay, just don't announce any. Just every week you have Edge and Christian defending. Edge has more heat and hype right now in Maple Leaf Pro. They've done a better job hyping up Edge is going to be here in Maple Leaf Pro. They could have built up to the open challenge, the New Day show up, win or lose, and then you figure out some other shit to do. Do Swerve versus Ricochet or whatever. Like, fuck, man. So here we go. Let's take a listen.
I think it should be Swerve and the New Day against Hangman's crew and just a one-on-one trios title match.
Yeah, but they built heat with Swerve and Ricochet.
No, they didn't build heat.
They did, but I think you could do something.
No. They built heat with Swerve and Ricochet. No, having them cross paths and he goes, you bitch, or whatever. That's like building heat. But you don't go, oh, he built heat, and you can always go back to that later. Dave and Tone think 2 weeks out, you have two guys just cross paths, and then all of a sudden they're wrestling in a match at the biggest show of the year. Not you sow seeds, you water this plant, you pick this fruit, you wait on this, you hold off on this one. Right? They don't understand shit about shit when it comes to
on
this.
TV. I think if you're debuting the New Day at Wembley, I think it's a much bigger deal to just do that one-on-one match for the trios titles.
I will say this. If it is the New Day, and I have no, and everyone expects that they are coming in.
And then whenever Dave tries to go, I have no clue if it is, and then he means Tone told him what's happening, and he's trying to cover his own ass, but then he goes, and I mean, nobody knows if they're coming in.
And whether it's going to be here or somewhere else. I think it would be a lot better to announce them as opposed to make it a surprise. I just think that
you guys are doing that for him. The sheets are doing that for him, Dave. For Tone.
It's if you're going to do surprises, do them in the gauntlet. Get your surprises in the gauntlet.
What a hack. If you're going to do surprises, just do it where we've done surprises every fucking time, ever.
Gauntlet.
They're a tag team, Dave.
Because I think that, again, when you got a lot of tickets.
So they can lose so that MJF can win in a gauntlet instead of a tag setting when they're going to be tag wrestlers because it's fucking Kofi and Creed. Holy man.
Having someone make their debut that's important, probably something that you should announce. I mean, if it was like, a 5,000.
But Tone won't do that because he has to and it's not a surprise because we all know. But Tone doesn't do that because AEW fucked up by trying to do the ECW thing. Like, we need surprises. We need shocking debuts where everybody can go, oh my God. Like, everybody knew Fingershay was going to be in AEW, but they just didn't announce that they had him in the gauntlet. Right? Same with Danielson Cole. They did the double debut. Like, Tone Hotshot booked himself to where part of the allure for years of AEW was you never know who's going to show up. Mox might show up, their first big show. Mox shows up. Everyone's like, holy shit. Jericho showed up at the All In there dressed as Penta and shit like that. So Tone takes any opportunity he can to be like, let's just shock everyone. Even though it's the most obvious shit in the world.
Whatever. If it was a building that was sold out and, you don't need to announce it, but this is a big building, it's like, don't necessarily, biggest show of the year, biggest money show of the year.
Imagine biggest money show of the year. And it's not like Joe versus Lashley in a cage in like one of those, Kurt Angle, Joe shoot fight in the Broctagon type scenario. Imagine you're too fucking dumb and lazy to pull that off and make that a story over the course of a year. Imagine MJF's your workhorse champ drawing your fucking only good ratings. He leaves. All of a sudden, the ratings kind of slump again. And now he's back and he's in a casino gauntlet. And the payoff to the Andrade MJF feud at the biggest show of the year is because they're 2 of 20 guys in a fucking gauntlet match.
You don't need to get cute and play. Oh, we're going to get a surprise pop.
Do you know what's marquee, dude? Lashley versus Omega. That's marquee.
No, it's like save that for, again, for somebody in the gauntlet match.
Save that for somebody in the gauntlet match. Well, too bad, Dave. It's 2 people in the gauntlet match that you're talking about debuting. It's 2 people.
Where's the guy that has papers everywhere in this room?
So what do you mean save that for someone in the gauntlet match? Okay, well, it's Kofi and Creed, dummy. So what are we talking about? And let's not pretend that's not 2 7-figure salaries being added to the roster as well. Want to talk about Tone making money and incurring costs before this whole Paramount WBD thing goes down. And Dave, you don't even know the difference between one and 2 people.
I think it should be Swerve in the New Day.
And that's why you're a fucking mark. And you're a condescending asshole, and that's why I will felt you forever. And that's why we put flutes in the chat for everybody's favorite segment turn show, rather. And it is called Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. That was Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. Featuring Bryan Alvarez. Guys, I want to thank you all for being here. CWJ for 2 sweet says, wouldn't a Lashley Swerve match draw? Maybe if they booked it and told a good goddamn story. I've been saying Lashley versus Omega. You could argue that was a dream match outside of WWE at one point, or even a WWE guy versus somebody outside of WWE. You could argue in the 2010s. That would move the needle. MJF would move the needle. A lot of these guys, I think, Ospreay's not a draw. You're spending millions on a guy who doesn't move the needle at all for the UK Wembley show. That's crazy bad. And so we'll see what happens with all of that. Thank you so much for the super chat. So people are saying no biggest show of the year is WrestleMania. Yes. AEW's biggest show is their WrestleMania is All In. That's their WrestleMania, right? Just like TNA's WrestleMania is Bound for Glory. It's not as big. But yeah, Ospreay just fucked up as well. He was booked. He's been booked horribly. And when he got neck fusion, he should have taken time off, come back swole as fuck. Like Triple H, bruv, and actually did some fucking story. Instead of just the same old Phoenix splashes to the outside and shit. So I want to thank you all for being here, guys. If you're watching on replay, hype the video, become a member. I do bonus shows weekly. Check out patreon.com/pro wrestle times for bonus Dave Meltzer shows. Okay, I dropped one this week. Again, I've been Phil S. Marks, and I will see you guys next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting obtrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a U.S.
Hold
show,
on a second.
as they did there, and they
Dave?
can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
Okay,
we
hold
know
on.
they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I
numbers for an
continue
afternoon.
this before you cut me off? We know one thing.
Yes.
We know it
No,
might have done well because
I'm
it went
not-
on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win, just to show that, he's not a loser.